Join us for our annual summer workshop. It's a little bit different style than we've done in the past. We usually go across the state, so thank you guys for driving. I know several of you are over an hour drive and carpool, which is awesome. And some new faces in here as well, which is really great to see. As many of you know, my name is Taylor Siebert. I started Striv way back in the day, old school days, when no one knew what streaming was, and now here we are. And things have changed and evolved, and we're thankful for a lot of you guys for sticking with us and supporting our mission and vision. I'll share a little bit about that later today. But thank you guys for being here. I want to introduce our team. We got Jordan in the back. He's really taken over a lot of the school relationships and account management, and we call him now our solutions engineer for Striv AV. So we acquired that business a couple of years ago. It's been really great to provide you guys with equipment, and even we put up hoop mics for Marcus last summer, I think it was, right? Something like that. And did a big install up in Schuyler a couple of years ago. We've done some stuff at Crete. We're now the primary installer for ScoreVision. So for those of you that have ScoreVision boards, we now install those across the country, and whenever all of you have to get shot clocks, we'll actually come install the shot clocks for you as well, and the little LED lights. So that's been really fun, and Jordan's out doing commissions and building the racks and doing a lot of fun stuff. If you went to state track, our team is what made the video boards actually work, because they were not working 2 weeks before state track. Our team went out and made it all work with like 4 other companies that were trying to figure this out. So we've got a great team on the AV side, and a lot of, you guys have supported us on that, and we're very thankful for you guys on the Striv AV side. So if you have questions about equipment, things like that, Marcus is going to talk a lot about that. You can talk to Jordan at any time today. He'll be happy to answer your questions. And then Eric, everyone knows Eric. He's our longest tenured employee, team member, and his job title changes every year. And so we've got him working on some really cool stuff. He's going to give you a little peek inside his world and what he's been working on in his session. I believe that's this afternoon, right, Eric?
Nope,
right before lunch. Yep, so right before you guys get some food. And then Danielle, she joined us over a year ago. We're kind of moving her around. She does a lot of our marketing and communications. She's going to be really helping with our curriculum development that Rob and Shanda have helped with on digital media, and really taking that to the next level. And then everyone knows it's actually Nathan, but we call him Hoosier. Long story, you can ask him during a break why we call him that, but he's been amazing. He came to us, went to a year of college, and said he wasn't learning as much as he was learning with us, and so he decided to forego, and both his parents are educators, and they let him put a time out on college and come work for us full time. So I talked to them this week, and I think they're still okay with that. And so we're thankful for him. He does a lot of our productions, and he just is a great addition to our team. And Olivia has helped us this whole last year. She was at UNK and helped us with our social media. Now she's kind of starting her own thing, and we're using her as kind of a freelancer to take photos and do video. And she did all of our social media over this last year. And she went to Heartland, and so that was a connection there. And she probably had no idea when she was in high school that she'd be helping us. And so those are the cool opportunities that I know all of you guys have happening in your schools, or want to aspire to see your students doing as well. So, all right, a couple housekeeping items. Lunch is on your own this year, so we're going to give you the free map. Holta said you guys can bring it back here. So if you want to get something at Jimmy John's, Arunza, McDonald's, wherever, Arby's, whatever, we'll give you there's about an hour for lunch, depending on how long Eric goes. So you will determine your lunchtime.
Right, I will not take a full hour, so
okay.
There will be extra time.
Yeah, and if you have questions for Eric's session, we'll dismiss, and then kind of you want some Q&A, you can do that. So we got an action-packed day. We're going to go all the way till, it could be 3, could be before that. Depending on my voice, I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me. But this is our schedule. It's also up on our cool little LED board if you haven't seen that. So we're rotating the schedule on there. And then you can find it on our workshop landing page as well, where all of you registered. Quick introduction. So we've got Rob Goff from Kearney High School, who teaches digital media. and productions there. He's going to be talking about building that program there. We have Marcus Shear from Johnson County Central talking about, he's just kind of a guru when it comes to streaming and equipment, and just to see the growth, and not only the growth of his program with kids, but the growth of his program as far as equipment. How many cases do you have? How many bags do you have? Don't know. It's a lot. So, but just to see that progression over the last several years has been really neat. So he's going to dive into that. Then Eric, as we mentioned, is going to be sharing a new tool with you on the streaming side. And then Jeremy Bohr is going to be talking about their student-run business. He's got some sweet new swag, I think. 74 Creative is their student-run business. So what we're really trying to do is, you kind of notice some new branding and things like that, is we view all of you guys as future-ready educators. I know it's a buzzword, but it's the truth. You guys are equipping students for the unknown in the future, right? In all of these areas, digital media, streaming, and then business and technology is interlaced in all of that. That's to us what a future-ready educator is hitting all of those different areas. And we believe that's a great pathway to expose a lot of students to prepare them for the future of work. And that's what I'm going to be talking about at the end of the day to kind of wrap it up. All right. So if you have not joined our community, you guys can scan this QR code to get in there, or there's a bit.ly link. It's just bit.ly or bit.ly/future-ready educators. That's where the conversation is going to be happening. So we're going to be, if you want to ask questions or you want to comment in there. The reason we started this, the main reason, guys, is Twitter is a trash hole right now. And that's where we used to connect, right? It's basically, I was thinking on the way here, I'm like, what is Twitter? Well, it's basically your junk email. It's your spam email right now. And so when you go on to Twitter, you have no idea what you're going to get. And so when you post something, you have no idea who's going to see it. You don't know what the algorithm is going to serve them. And that's truly why we created this, is to create a separate space dedicated to educators, where you know when you go into futurereadyeducators.com and there's an app that you can download too, and there's a feed, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be content that's related to digital media education, streaming and broadcasting, technology, and business. So entrepreneurship. I'm really passionate about that as an entrepreneur. We're going to start to provide some, you've probably seen some of the content from Jason Schaefer down in Orlando, a friend of mine who's contributing to the site. He teaches entrepreneurship. And so we feel like all of those kind of merge together. And so when you go into FRE, is what we call it, you know what you're going to get. You know the content, and hopefully you learn something when you go there, and you can engage with a community of other educators who are thinking outside the box. They're innovative, they're collaborative, and they're student-centered. That's our three things we're trying to do in FRE. So we want to encourage you to jump into there. We're trying to bridge the gap between education and the future of work. I got some great feedback from a teacher who I was hoping was going to be here but couldn't make it, who was offended by a video that I shared around talking about that. And it wasn't meant to dog anybody in education. It was meant, I believe you guys are bridging the gap, and us as Striv want to continue to help empower educators. We want to feed into you as educators to help bridge that gap. Some educators are and some aren't. We want to help bridge that gap because there will always be a gap between education and future work, because we always need to be getting feedback from the marketplace so that you guys can become better educators. And that's why you're here today. So you are bridging the gap. We're thankful for that. And that's what this community is about, is to inspire and encourage you guys. We know education is getting dumped on right now. And those things, I believe, are uncontrollables. You can't control what's happening in Lincoln at the Capitol a lot of the times, as we've realized. But you can control what you're doing right now and how you're educating yourself and getting professional development and learning through activities like this, and what you do in your classrooms and how you inspire your students each day. So thank you for being here. So inside of there, there's a chat room called Future Ready Talk. And we'd love for you to share your name, school, what you teach, and what you hope to learn today. So we can do that digitally. We don't have, enough time to do that around the room here. Hopefully you can introduce yourself to folks and try to put a name to a face. Hopefully you have a profile photo in Future Ready Educators so people will know, oh, that's who Marcus is, and that's what he teaches, and that's what he hopes to learn today. Oh, that's who Dawn Schemper, is that how you say your last name? Scamper, why did I do that?
It's okay, everybody does.
From Alma, she teaches all sorts of different things. I really want to connect with her. So if we can get you guys to share that in the future ready talk, it's a chat room basically, so it's just a feed, and you can reply in threads if you want to connect with someone throughout the day. Please do that. So share your name, school, what you teach, and what you hope to learn today in that Future Ready Talk channel. Any questions on that? Has fallen? Who's not in or is having trouble getting in to that? Do I need to go back to that? Cool. All right, so this is an activity we do quarterly with our team, and as we were thinking about how do we kick this off, just because of the pressure and just kind of a lot of the stress around education, we wanted to share this activity with you guys, something that we do each quarter. We call it a quarterly sprint plan meeting, and so ours will be at the end of June. We'll kind of reflect on the last quarter and then look ahead to the future where we're at currently and look ahead to the future in this next quarter. So in the business world, that's kind of how we view our years in quarter sprints. For you guys, it might be quarters or semesters, right? So as you kind of think about this last school year, we want you to rewind, we want you to pause and kind of look at where things are at currently, and then we want you guys to look forward. So all of you have a sheet in front of you that you're going to actually write this out. All right? So that's what we're doing. We're going to fill out this sheet. And the first thing you're going to do is, what are you proud of? What are you proud of this last school year? And just start listing the things that you're proud of. Okay? And I'll start a timer. We're going to go about 90 seconds per section. Okay? So let's start there. What are you proud of? Go ahead and start. First thing that pops in your head. If you get done with that, you can go to what you regret. What do I regret? If you want to move on to that too. Otherwise, stop. Don't go to the next part if you can wait. All right, go ahead and move on to anything maybe you regret from this past school year. If nothing, awesome.
No regrets.
Yeah, did we put that slide? Good. Let's pause there. So usually in our slides in our meeting, they have this slide of this guy's tattoo, and it says regrets tattooed on his arm. It took me an hour. All of a sudden I go, oh, that's spelled wrong. I thought regrets and tattooed on him. Anyone want to share something that they're proud of or they regret? Any bold educators? Don't make me call your name. Okay, thanks, Justin. Say your name and school.
Oh, so Justin Marson, Diller Odell. With the new laws and stuff going in for budgeting and stuff like that. I went to my superintendent about doing sponsorships because we haven't had the need to do that before. So we started that, sent out letters right before Christmas, and by first week of January, we had 2,500 in sponsorships.
Nice.
So, and that was within about 7 different companies that just around our small little town, so.
Fantastic. That's definitely something to be proud of. And now I'm sure that'll grow.
Hopefully.
Next year, right? Cool. Anybody else? We'll go one more.
Jeremy Freese at Seward. We actually got the score vision boards installed about February 1st, somewhere around that time. And we kind of did a lot to get going this year, and I think our varsity contract is up, so we'll be doing all of the sponsorships on our own board ourselves this year. So
Nice.
big opportunity for us.
Yeah. Fantastic. Anyone want to share a regret?
Getting video boards.
You will regret those.
Last year I was new with Striv and Striv education and everything, and I didn't really know anything about it, so my regret is not really understanding more of it beforehand. I was kind of learning along with my students. I mean, we brought a lot of great stuff out, but I just feel like I wish I would have done more beforehand so I knew a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough. Thank you for jumping in, though. Okay, thank you guys for sharing. All right, so right now, let's look. We dealt with the past, and usually we sulk on that a little bit. Everyone shares, but it's important to kind of reflect a little bit. But now let's look at right now. What is it today? June 5th? June 5th. What are you confident in, and what are you lacking right now? This could be, we're really thinking about your educational role in your school. That's kind of, we don't want to get personal on this, but you could do this personally.
She said I played with some losers on my game.
Go ahead and move on if you're done with that, or with confident, if you want to move on to lacking. Or if you're done, just hang out for a little bit. All right. Anybody want to share what they're confident in right now, besides their golf swing? All right.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. I go, confident the driver, the short game is lacking. Yeah, right? Uh-huh.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Levi Luke at York. I'm confident that my students will be prepared before we stream, and that we always have people that want to watch our streams.
Yeah. Cool. Yes.
I'm Judy Schroer from Lawrence Nelson, so I'm going to a new school, so all
Okay.
new classes have FBLA, never had that before, so I'm confident in my work ethic and my desire to learn, because I have a lot to learn.
Yeah. Where'd you come from?
Red Cloud,
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't have Striv
Yeah.
anymore, so I'm new to Striv, so.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Happy to have you.
Awesome. Okay, anybody lacking anything? I'm sure this would be very good.
Time is
Time, right. Besides time, what are you lacking?
Marcus Shear, Johnson County Central. With my job in technology, is a lot of planning ahead. And when we forecast out 5 years out, a lot of our staff is going to be changing due to retirements. And so what I put was I lack confidence in being able to find the right people that will fit in our culture, that will have the right work ethic, that will be good people to work with.
Yeah, especially with the shortage, right? So the pool is shrinking of talent. Sounds like a great lunch conversation. I'm interested to get your feedback on what is the test that everyone has to take to become an educator? Praxis test. I'm interested in your feedback on that. Does Iowa have that, Josh? Something similar, or don't know? They let you in?
It's Iowa.
It's
Oh, okay.
warm body.
That's
option.
Okay, so good. And hopefully there's stuff that's making your mind think a little bit here, getting you in the mode. So now looking forward, okay, we're very forward thinking here. What are you excited about this upcoming school year? And what are you worried about?
Can you do the same thing?
Sure, but provide details. And then you can share and I can see. Is it something you can control?
No,
Okay. And that's tough.
wait. Yeah.
I guess I should have asked, is anyone saying anything online or virtual?
Yeah,
Okay.
Danielle did, but that doesn't count. She's here.
That's nice.
I mean, her opinions are valid,
All right, everybody, you want to share what they're excited about? Or let's go to Dawn. Dawn said she has the same.
I'm Dawn Simper from Alma, and I'm very excited because my classes have doubled in size for next year. I think I'm at almost 50 kids, between 45 and 50 kids between my video production and yearbook class.
Is that the whole high school?
No, but close.
You're so popular.
And the middle school.
Yeah, I'm teaching, I'm full-time tech, and
Yeah.
this was supposed to be like a 2-period-a-day job that is now 5 next year.
Wow.
So I'm very excited about that, but I'm also very nervous about not having enough for them to do. And what to do with them, that's my biggest worry. What do I do with them in the spring? Because during basketball season, between junior high and high school, the stream, if it happens in our building, it goes on Striv.
Yeah.
Music, concerts, to everything but the one-act play because of copyright stuff. Yeah. So everything else goes. So I keep
Gotcha.
them busy until about March.
Yep.
And then from March to, when they really don't want to be there anymore, from March to May, what do I do? I made them go film track and golf for fun.
Yeah.
We didn't really do much with it. And so that's where I'm very worried about next March when I have 25 video production kids.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with them?
I got a couple ideas
Okay,
for
good.
you. That's great. Awesome growth. That's really cool. Anybody else? Either one. Want to share?
Mine's both done adding score vision. Excited. Almost a word.
What's school yet?
Creek.
Oh.
Sorry. Trapsco, Creek.
Yeah. Definitely connect with all those Score Vision folks, or even economics folks. Yeah, you guys can.
We've all been there. We've made a lot of mistakes.
Just be happy you have score vision.
Don't tell Jeremy that.
No, we have score vision now, but we had, not get into it.
Okay, we're almost done here. I'm running a little behind, so sorry, Rob. All right, so what must you learn this summer to feel more equipped, confident, inspired for this next school year? Write down 3 things that you want to learn, maybe it includes today or just the rest of the summer. And once you're done with that, I've got a challenge for you. Bless you. Put your pen down so I know you're done when you're done. And you kind of base it off of what you just put in the 3 boxes above. All right, if you can't get all 3, maybe something pops in your head later today, keep that sheet. But what I want you to do right now before Rob comes up is to take a picture of that sheet with your phone, and I want you to send it to Danielle at striv.tv. And what we want to do is send this to you in August to remind you of what you put here on this, and hopefully allow you to kind of reflect on the summer and what you did and where you were at on June 5th compared to August 17th.
Try the 9th.
Or, yeah, August. You start on the 9th?
I think we have kids at 10.
Oh, gosh. Danielle at strive.tv. And if you need to
When do you get started?
What's that?
send that to her.
The 10th,
Or is that what day? But
Thursday.
that's when our first, I think we have kids on what's coming. We might have Wednesday.
I know
Maybe
it's
Wednesday or Thursday we have
we
kids
have
here.
teacher Tuesday, Wednesday, because my daughter's birthday is the 9th.
Okay.
And she was super mad that, that when she was born, like, we were a week from school starting and.
Ours is
it's
Thursday.
really
Ours that
fun
Thursday. I
fact.
think we have our kids that Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob is up next. We're gonna move right into it. If you need to hit the restroom or grab some water, do that while he's setting up here. So. You have your own laptop, Rob?
Yep.
Thank you guys for going through that.
You got a charger too. You and everything. Yeah. Do you want to unplug? I don't know.
Start whenever, Rob, so we get Wi-Fi. I'll wait for everybody to make it.
What's going on, kid?
Weren't you kids?
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Sorry, not.
Hey Danielle, Ben Beckman.
Oh, I did too. Oh, what you want from me is like, I'm in actually 7 level you're in. I'm also one. Always we levels. And my 4th level, highest level. Where yeah, vision. You're up for 5 to 7 kids. It's like in-house internship. Those kids did all the high videos, commercials.
And that's what mine used to be, invitation only, and now they opened it up.
Well, it's like, oh gosh, you get your first class, you get $7. She's in 5 to 7 kids. This year I had 12. They're like 13 out there. I'm like, God, I'm running out of projects to do to no curriculum. Because it was,
Okay, you go find it.
or it comes to us. Yeah, next year, 26. I'm like, I literally have to create curriculum. I'm like,
It's really
we don't have
cool.
enough projects.
Yeah,
There are
and it's
20
really cool that you have these kids coming in and wanting to do this stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like,
But now I've got to.
it's not like a math book where I can hand you a
I'm the
math
same.
book.
I'm the same thing. Like I had some teacher I was talking to, I don't know another state. I was chatting with one. I started the program here. What textbook? I'm like, I texted her. I was like, don't write text. Lily, sheer. There's so many sources online. Just go find some of this.
Adobe's really good stuff.
I read my textbook. It's outdated.
Yeah, we have fun. I did,
Sometimes there's a.
what's their names? Singing voice or whatever. They go, oh, do you want to try some free stuff?
Oh, yeah, I'll take
And I was
free.
like, oh yeah, I'll take a free one.
Oh, yeah, free. I'll take free.
I have a Premiere Pro one in my bag because I thought if I get 2 or 3 meetings out of it.
Adobe, what?
Oh, you got one of those
Adobe in a classroom. Those are good.
Yeah.
If you're Adobe school, those are really
And
good.
we are, but we also have Final Cut. And I really wish there was good, like, I can send them to, send them to the links, like the learn this, like Photoshop stuff, basic Photoshop stuff, and all that. But I wish Final Cut had something like that. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there, but they're not great.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
You don't know where to start it. Like,
Yeah.
right, that's what Adobe is. Like, we're all back. All right, I'll get started here. So we'll get through. So we're going to talk about, again, my name is Robert Goff, Kearney High School. We're going to talk a little bit about like unlocking, the idea of like unlocking the power of digital media curriculum in your classroom. Or I would use a term I use all the time in my school, and I walk around all the time, so I'm going to be like back and forth here. I can't sit there. It's quo vadis. Okay, quo vadis is a really, really cool Latin term that no one knows about because we don't study Latin because it's a nice dead language and we don't teach in Roman Catholic schools. But quo vadis means simply, where are we going? And I use this all the time. I use 2 phrases all the time in my classes. I use quo vadis, where are we going, and another one I'll talk about later on. But first, a little bit about myself, who I am. Again, my name is Robert Goff. My family, why do I do these things? Why do we do this? I do it because of my family. Like everything else, everything goes back to them. My wife of 25 years, in August we celebrate 25, and I think I'll be on a road trip during our 25th anniversary. My son Colin, who just graduated from UNL, he's the one in that really ugly hat. Carter, who's there, he's going to be a junior at Lincoln, and my daughter Ansley on the far side, she's going to be a junior at Kearney High School. And then this past year, because not like I didn't have enough in my life to do, we decided to adopt and go crazy, and we got a dog. For the first time in my life, I got a dog. We got Rory. My wife wanted a French Bulldog. She's now 9 months old. If you ever have a French Bulldog in your life, they are absolutely pretentious beyond belief. She is completely always hungry and very, very, very spoiled all the time. Okay? But again, about myself, this is my 26th year teaching. Okay? I spent the first 19 years teaching English. That's my degree. Okay? I was a speech teacher and a coach for 12 of those years. I was a theater director and teacher for 19 years of some type of theater. I was a yearbook advisor for 5 years until we went to our brand new school at Kearney High School, and this year will be our 8th year in that new building. We just finished up, and I taught a program after I got my master's, so I talked to Malika there, at UNK in video production, or actually technology integration in schools, whatever the fancy word is. But I really kind of focused on video production. I kind of liked it, because video production kind of goes with my English background of telling stories. And so we created a media class. Had no idea what we're doing. There's no textbook out there. There wasn't 10 years ago. Okay, and that evolved. So I have a media production 1 class, and then evolved to a media production 2 class, and now I have a Bearcat Vision class, which is actually considered our highest level. That's like our in-house internship. So all I teach anymore at Kearney High School is digital media. Okay, again, I didn't start this way. I had to evolve and learn. And our Bearcat Vision next year will be our 4th year. And I was just telling Dawn, I'm actually the same problem that she's had. She has so many kids. Our Bearcat Vision was designed for 5 to 7 kids, like an in-house internship. 5 to 7 kids. We do the hype videos. We do the commercials. We go out. If our AD walks in and says, I need a commercial, and he goes, oh, great, wonderful, we'll do a commercial. Okay? Yeah, I need it by Thursday for the basketball game. I'm like, really? It's Monday. Thank you. He goes, oh yeah, they just paid us a lot of money. I'm like, sound fair, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been there. But now I have an issue with that class because it has no curriculum. Because we get things coming in. I have 26 kids in that class next year. So I gotta figure out what to do with 26 kids, which is a great thing to do. But I gotta figure it out. Okay? But we always ask, first thing I'll talk about, like, why is digital media needed? Now, we're not going into this, and really not the process this talk I'm gonna have you guys say is why is digital media needed. But, you know, because we all know that. Digital media classes are starting up here. But I always preface this, and every time I do a conversation or start a lesson, kids always ask me, say, hey, ask me this question, is why are we teaching this? When I taught Shakespeare, when I taught Thoreau, when I taught Emerson, why are we teaching this? Okay, no problem, I can answer that question. You know why? Take out your phones. You guys want to do this. First thing in the lesson I do, take your phones out, guys. Take your phones out. Okay, now go to your settings. And when you go to settings, go to your app usage, or how much you're on your phone. And the kids will laugh and chuckle and giggle and like, yeah. No, seriously. How much are you on your phones? And they'll say 6.5 hours. They'll say 5.5 hours. Oh, and what are you guys using on your phones? You're on digital media, aren't you? So you have administrators, or you have some people in the community. Why do you need to teach this class? How much are you on this? And what are you looking at? You know what you're looking at? You're looking at the things that we're going to create. True? Like, yeah. He goes, that's why we need this class. Because these aren't going away. And you're on these things. You know, what I think the last statistic I saw was like 4.5, 5.5 hours. And you're looking at screens over 7.5 hours a day. So, that's why. Okay? What we're really going to talk about is why we do it, is what's the big about digital media, student engagement. And I put this on an earlier presentation I had. Student engagement can be defined as the amount of attention, interest, curiosity, and positive emotional connections that students have when they're learning, whether in classroom or their own. Engaged students are more motivated to participate in class, they're achieving their learning goals, are more likely to resist their challenges in learning, they feel instantly motivated to gain new and deeper understanding. Okay? We want them engaged. That's kind of the point of the class. Okay? You know, this is a project-based learning. And again, we go back through it. Why are we teaching the class? And here's an example I use all the time. We had a new principal, and he asked me, he goes, why teach the class? But okay, you know, here's another reason why I have to explain this to you here on how motivated it is. When was the last time that you ever purchased a piece of furniture that was handmade? Or did you buy everything from IKEA? Like my wife, who's banned. Trust me. And he goes, no, I'm never advocating getting rid of the wood shop. I love that guy because what they do is great. And I love the smell of good cedar, and I love that. But I just showed you how we make digital media all the time. And you're staring at your phone for 6.5 hours a day, but you can't even tell me one piece of furniture, but we have never thought about getting rid of the wood shop. Ever, right? He goes, no. He goes, it's the same thing. We're creating something new. Okay? So we need to create curriculum for that new. Because we want to engage students. It's a new world. Kids want to create. So we need to find the curriculum to help them. Okay? So, the idea is, what does digital media education program look like? And again, we all know Bloom's taxonomy. We're all teachers. And we go to the top there, we have application analysis, evaluation, and the creation side. Okay, and we know administrators, we start throwing things like Bloom's at them, they're like, ooh, differentiated education, whoa, they start freaking out, right? Yeah, guys, we nailed this one, come on, we're made for this. I mean, we start throwing things like this to school board members, they're like, can I have money now? They're like, ooh. Okay, they still give me money, but we want the idea is, here's one thing I always talk about here. We want to switch from users to creators. You start typing in your computer, like a Google search, you start talking digital media education, like, ooh, here's how to use this app. Here's how to use this platform. Here's how to use this thing here. Hoosier, am I good enough? Is your arm getting tired yet from you moving around? Okay, I'll try to move back and forth here more. Here. That's what, it always annoys me all the time. It's always one that's like, we're users. No, guys. We want to switch from being users of digital media to creators. We want our kids to make it. And I always tell my kids in my classes, it's like, okay, now switch your heads is, you're creators now. So how are you going to create this? How are we going to make it? Okay? And that's where your curriculum comes into. Okay? Now, Henry David Thoreau once said, the world is but a canvas to our imagination. That's what I start going through is our imagination. But when we do our imagination, all our imaginations are different. There's 26 of us in this room. Why are you laughing at me, Eric?
I'm laughing at it.
I tripped, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But we're all different in there. And the idea is what I mean different is, what steps to take that we want to have. And the first thing I want to talk about, like our curriculum pass here, is what is your path? Because I can stand up here and I can go through my curriculum and I have a Kearney High that I'm very, very proud of. And I've worked really hard and I've failed a lot at creating. But here's the issue. You guys don't teach at Kearney High. Okay, I have 4 levels of digital media classes. Okay, my highest level, I have kids that are I have kids in digital media, they've been through 3 different levels of digital media. The things they create are tremendous. Sometimes you guys are not there yet. That's fine. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. So that's what we want to talk about is, what path works for you guys? For your school? Because maybe you only get 1 class. Like I was talking to Jeremy. Jeremy, you get 1 level, right?
No, I'm like you.
Oh, you have 4 levels here? I'm sorry, I'm talking about at 1 level. You're at 1 level. And how many times have you had kids repeat that level?
A couple, which I try to tell them it's kind of pointless because you're doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing, yeah. And that's going to be really hard. Okay.
Except you want them back.
But you want them back because they can do great things.
You're trying to say you're going to be bored,
but it's really,
you did all this last
year. But
you're
hard, yeah. So that's when we get our differentiated education. Again, differentiated education, administrator, but differentiated is really, really hard teaching. It's really hard.
Especially in the same period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you guys, what path are you going to be on? What I mean by paths is what works best for your school. Okay? Now I just put 3 of them up there. See, these are 3 of the most common ones up here. Video production, audio design, or graphic design. Okay, I'm lucky enough at Kearney High that I have a tremendous graphic design teacher. So I do very little Photoshop. Okay, I do enough that I make myself dangerous that I think I know what I'm doing. And then somebody asks me a question, I go, yeah, I don't know the answer. Go talk to Mrs. Vorak. Okay? I do a very little Photoshop. I kind of learn a little bit as I go on. But again, my area of emphasis in my high school is on the video production side. But I ask this is, one of the first things I want to focus on is, what do you want to focus on? What do you feel comfortable in? Because that's important. Because you can try to do all 3, and it's hard. Or you say, you know what, guys, I really like video, so that's what we're going to focus on video. I'm really good at graphic design. Now, again, in my classes, do we do some graphics? Yep. We do some. But my main area is here. Okay? And I want to tell you guys, don't do all 3 if you can. But if you're starting, find one concentration and do that well. Okay? Think about what you want to do and what do you want to do well. Because once you get that down, then you can start dabbling in. Then you start adding some more things here. And again, I learned this because I thought, I can learn Photoshop and I can learn Premiere. Actually, I started with Apple. I learned Photoshop and I used Final Cut Pro. And I thought I could do both, and I absolutely failed because the kids passed me by really quickly. Okay, I just wasn't good enough. So I was like, why would I keep doing this when I have an art teacher who's doing that one? So I did video. And again, that's a curriculum that I have at Kearney High, that I have that advantage because I have a colleague that does this. People don't. Some do, some don't. So find the path that fits you. Okay? And then the second step I always say when you talk about curriculum, well, what I do before we get there, the second step I always say is where's it going to be seen? And we talk about the video boards, and that a lot of times that drives our curriculum. What do you guys want to do? Okay. Now again, we still have like, okay, what projects we want to make? Yeah. Before we start making projects, where are we going to put them on? Okay? Do you have video boards? And most of the people are like, yeah, we're getting video boards. You know, how many people have video boards now? Or actually, I should say, how many people don't have video boards in their school? Really? Malika, you guys don't? Wow. Just wait.
I think she's safe. I don't think you have a place to put it.
I was gonna say.
Is there really no place to put it in there?
No.
Okay. Because what happens when the 80s will start figuring out, it's like, oh, video boards. And then they'll start talking to other 80s and figure out, oh, how much money you can generate from those things. And the money in the 80s minds, like, oh, and money, smoke starts coming out of their ears. And then they go, oh, we'll create this. Okay, we're going to buy this video board. And Rob, you create stuff and put on it. It's wonderful. Thank you. But if you guys don't have video boards, okay, fine. Are you on YouTube? Are you on social media? Okay, even sometimes social media are different. You know, is this going to be on Twitter? Which, you know, Eric's kind of a Twitter type of guy. Or no, Taylor's more of a Twitter type of guy. Eric's kind of like old, so he's Facebook.
I'm like 3 years older than him. I'm not that old. Not as old as you, Rob.
I'm old. Okay. You know, Danielle's kind of an Instagram.
I actually don't own Instagram.
Really? I was thinking Jordan's kind of like TikTok, you know, but that's gonna be like communist channel that's banned and stuff like
Let's
that.
talk about that.
No.
Don't get started.
Don't get us started on TikTok. Okay. But you guys, it's important. I always think it's important here is when you start developing your curriculum, where are you gonna put stuff on? Or is it derived for your video boards? Because you know what we're talking about here is, what are you gonna do in March? Because after March, basketball season's over, right?
So do you post on TikTok now?
I do not. We post on Insta. Okay, here's my rationale. I just started posting on Insta this year because the kids are harassing me. But I'm like, duh, that's stupid. I'm truly this. I'll say this: if you're not posting on Instagram, you're missing out. And I say this. Somebody said this. I don't know who said it to me. Who said it really well. Twitter is for like your alumni. Truly. Okay. Listen, guys. You post on Facebook for moms and dads and grandparents, because that's where they're at. You post on Twitter for like your alumni, your middle something, your 20, 25, 30. You post on Insta for the kids. I get far more engagement on Insta with our students than I ever do on Facebook or Twitter. By far. If you want student engagement, you've got to be posting on Instagram.
So have you thought about TikTok?
No, I'm done.
You've met your quota.
I've met my quota. Actually, no. We have some social media interns at our school. The classroom intercom. Is classroom intercom? Can they post on TikTok?
No.
They can't post on TikTok. Can't. Okay. You know, okay. I kind of stay away from TikTok to all the politics going on right now. You know, I think Montana just banned it.
Yeah.
And it's banned on government devices. Is it banned on government devices in Nebraska? Is it federal devices? I know some states have banned it, so I'll say that's why I'm kind of staying away from TikTok. I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole and get banned and have to waste all my time. But Insta usually works. So yeah, what did Josh?
I'll push back. I repurpose Instagram stories into TikTok, and then we also send that.
Have they done work?
So yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
you know, honestly, I have enough kids this year. I might start putting it in TikTok to see what it is.
well, I mean, if you're making something for Instagram stories, it makes sense. It's the same
format.
dimension size. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll probably, I'll see, like this year we start going to Instagram stories, like that, not more than that. I'll probably start pushing to TikTok and create that.
I'm not great about it, but every now and then when I remember. It's
the kids get me all the time. I'll post, my first thought is posting on Twitter. we'll post on Twitter, kids like, Goff, like, oh yeah. Facebook, no. Insta, my bad, I'm old.
We've had some content this year that has more views on Instagram than Facebook.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and not just kids, just in general.
Just in general,
And I
yeah.
think TikTok, if it got.
And then TikTok even more?
Kids, yeah, they're on that stuff. I mean,
All the time.
I have 2 teenagers in my house.
Yeah. Yeah, our Instagram, our things are big. So again, and I guess, so where can we see? And also, you know, YouTube. We put all our stuff on YouTube. So, and that's one thing is, before you start doing your curriculum again, okay, so if you're making graphics, you know, are you going one area here? Then graphics, probably not YouTube. We do a lot of YouTube because we do a lot of video, and my side there. So that's what's neat. Also, again, your video boards. There's a lot of stuff here on video boards. That determines your curriculum. Okay? You know, things like this. You know, where's your product going to be seen? It's going to be on video boards. It's going to be on Striv. Are you making things for your Striv channel or for your Striv broadcasts? You know, are you making commercials? Okay? You know, Jeremy and I, we're talking about here. How many people have companies come in? Oh, let's make a commercial. Okay? You can put your commercial on your Facebook, Instagram, but mainly you do commercials on our Striv. Okay? Again, we can generate money that way. Is that curriculum? Absolutely. Teaching kids how to make commercials and advertisements. First thing you go logos, ethos, and pathos, back to your persuasive. Okay? All your appeals that you can go through. It's kind of like marketing. Did I know anything about that? I knew logos, ethos, and pathos because I knew that to write a persuasive essay, but I had to learn all that. Okay? And that's what we can help you on. Have I made those mistakes? Yep. A lot. And a lot of people in our community have. But a lot of the community, we've kind of learned from those mistakes. We can help people out there just starting out. It's like, oh, what did you do to teach a commercial to your class? To teach an advertisement to your class? To have your kids go out into the community to shoot? And I talked to Jeremiah, I was talking about here. Guys, people in the community love when your kids in your school can make advertisements. They really do. I mean, they're not, some are good and some are so-so. But people love them. Even if they're bad, you look at them and you're like, ew. It's kind of cringeworthy. You'll hand them people, they love them. Again, there's your lesson. This video is going to be on our Striv feed. So now I have my first lesson in my curriculum. How do I make an advertisement? How do I film? How do I shoot? How do I do all those things? Video boards, how they're going to be seen. Social media, how they're going to be seen. Okay? And the third tip I would say is, guys, let's create. Okay, so now we have that. Now, let's go make some. Let's go make some. Okay? And now we get to the curriculum. And again, the kids always go, okay, what do we want to create? Hold on. Guys, what's our objective we want to do? Okay? And this is something that you guys start thinking about yourself too. What do you know? Some of you guys know more things than others. Some of you know you're better, your technology needs. Okay? I always say this. When people I talk with, it goes, what's your technical skills? How good are you with a computer? Okay? And what I mean by computer for me, it's software. Because invariably, I use a lot of software. I use computers all the time. I have my own computer lab, my classroom. Teachers will come into me, and they'll hand their computer, and they'll go, Goff, I'm having a problem with my computer. Can you help me out? No. She goes, but you work with computers. I work with a couple pieces of software. Marcus works with computers. It's sending to Marcus. Okay? But you'll get this. I love these questions all the time. They'll ask me, he goes, I know my software. How good are you with your software? And the next thing is, another one here. We teach framing and composition. Before we make a commercial, guys, let's do a project on the rule of thirds. Do you guys know what the rule of thirds is? They're like, no. Let's do a lesson on that. How do you frame something on that camera to make it look good? How about equipment usage? You guys know how to change the white balance? Do you guys know how to color correct on the camera and on your software? And they give you, no. Let's do a lesson on that one. So when we do create these, they look good. Okay? And then we get the conceptual understanding. Okay, we always hear media literacy all the time. Okay, I'm not going into media literacy. But I always, big thing, I always tell students all the time this, guys, what's your story? And they look at me strangely because, guys, I'm an English teacher by nature trained. If you're going to make a video and there's no story, what's the point of the video? What's the story? If you're making a hype video, what's the story? And some of them are really good and some of them are not so good, but the kids try. A graphic, what's the story? What's the point you want to get out of it, guys? Instead of just throwing it up there, what do you want to get out of this? Okay? Again, I'll go through a couple examples of these things here. And if you ever have any questions, just let me know. Like I said, I can share my curriculum. It's out there. Our intro media curriculum is on the Future Ready. I have Media Pro 1, Media Pro 2. I have plenty of lessons out there that I've tried, I failed, redid again, and helped and did. I can give this all to you. But I just don't want to flood you with mine because, again, my school looks different than your school. So you tell me, what do you want to go to? What's your story? What do you want to do in your school? And I'll help you. I'll work with that. Okay? Because I have time to talk about equipment usage. Maybe you go, I don't have that. I have to set up for the kids. Cool. Okay? And then we get to some project ideas. And again, I'll take the 3 areas here. When I start getting an audio here, people ask, okay, about different projects. Projects are hard, aren't they? Projects are really, really hard. Okay? So start throwing out some ideas here. We talk about audio production. What can you do in audio production in your curriculum? You guys are trying to podcasts? Podcasts are great. I love listening to podcasts. And again, as an English teacher, love podcasts. We listen to podcasts. We break them down. We talk about the structure of podcasts. Okay? Podcasts are being popular. In fact, some of our English teachers are using podcasts instead of using a textbook. What's the difference? There's nothing. You're still learning about symbolism and all the wonderful elements of it. Okay? Interview skills. Okay? Those are always good. Do you have a computer out there with a microphone? Teaching kids how to frame up a good interview. Okay? Or have some fun. I've seen, I don't know, is any school here, anybody do that Till was like the 90-foot walk or 93-foot in basketball? Was it Rory did that?
Yeah,
Where's Havens at?
Yeah.
Rod, we'll text Rod. Okay? They did really cool. And it's a great interview where they start in one end of the basketball court and they walk to the other end of the basketball court. How do you frame that up? Do you have good audio? Okay, what questions do you ask? No, we don't want those closed-end questions. We want open-ended questions, right? Again, all those are mini lessons before you do your interview. Dance remixes. My daughter is a dancer. She just had her last day of recital yesterday. They had like 6 days of recitals. And yeah, I always look at this. I have two boys in college and I have a high school dancer. So which one is more expensive? The high school dancer over the 2 boys combined. I have girls in our dance team go to school and they do their dance remixes. So the dances on our audio software, which we're an Adobe school. But I think we use Audition. Audacity is free, and they do about the same thing on Audacity. And the girls love mixing music with that. Secondary sounds. We teach secondary sounds. What I mean by that one is you do a hype video, or in the video is, and I always teach students if we take, I got a great clip from the movie Zero Dark 30. A great movie came out, Zero Dark 30, where all the sounds, the talking is taken out, and all you hear is the secondary sounds. And we break those down with the students. They hear the crunching of the feet, the car engine. And it's funny, there's like a terrorist attack, and all these kids, these guys pull their guns out, you hear this click, click, click of the guns. I'm like, no gun ever makes that noise, ever. And the kids are laughing, like, yeah, that's true. But the movie media expected. Those are secondary sounds. When you're in a football hype video, go on there to the guy, you know what? Go find some sounds like crunching of pads, or maybe a whistle blow in the background. Add those in, it adds ambiance to your video. Teach secondary sounds. Background moves. You know, we have so much in broadcast journalism that we do with our Striv. Okay? Soundscapes, Foley projects. I know Marcus, you still guys do your Foley project? Anybody know what a Foley project is besides Marcus? No, guy, have you tried one?
A little bit.
They're so much fun. The kids love them, and it's craziness in your classroom for about 2 weeks. It is absolute craziness. What a Foley project is, and here's a great project to do. I have one example here. Is it going to work? Ah. Back. What a Foley project is, I'm not going to how I get the name Foley, but you give them a video like this, you take all the sound out, and the students have to generate their own sounds. Now, sometimes they're like, and they get, oh man, it gets really loud in your classroom. And they'll start looking at some really weird places. They'll take cameras and microphones. You're like, just don't go into a bathroom. But they'll get really, really creative. And I let some students use like electronic sounds they can download too. But this student did, this came from my Media Pro 2 class. But you can make it really smaller. Pixar movies are great. Jurassic Park, where the velociraptors come into the kitchen, great scene. Let's go, Hitler. Okay, that's a Foley project. Again, all that sound was generated by the kids. They have no sound whatsoever in the project. And I have like 5 or 6 different videos I've found and used. And the kids get to choose which one. You get it from Cars, right?
Yeah.
That was awesome, by the way. I never watched that one. This was all lifted, and there's 400. The kids really have a blast with this because you listen to it. Okay, now all sound's gone, and you got to put that sound in. You're an audio operator. You're an audio generator. They got to get timing down. Not only timing, but they have to get volume. Okay. Now, when I went back, a project idea like unranked curriculum is a soundscape kind of the same way. It's a little smaller project. But these are different ideas. Okay? When we do our curriculum here, think again, what do you want to do? Okay, I can do a lot of stuff because I want to put stuff on YouTube or our own in-house internal. Like that Foley project. The kids have it, they post it. I don't post those a whole lot. Some kids might say, oh, you can post mine. But then a lot of people have to explain what a Foley project is. But the kids really learn audio editing. And that's a really cool skill on how to edit audio. Video production. Here are 9 projects here. Okay? And inside those projects, hide videos, everybody talks about those. Interviews, player introduction videos, we got to do all those. Advertisements, we talked about that with documentaries. Hey, Jeremy just told me that Sandy Creek is doing an incredible, it's on
Our football team.
football team. Okay. GICC just did one of their volleyball team. I haven't seen that one. I know, it's got to be good. Have you seen it?
It was great.
Well, I know who put it together. I mean, he's awesome. It has to be really good. Okay. I'm actually excited about doing documentary. I'm going to be able to, my 4th level class. I'm excited about doing documentary. So I got 24 kids. I don't know what to do with them all. I have to create curriculum. So actually this summer, I'm learning how to put a unit together on documentaries. Okay. Broadcast journalism, PSAs. PSAs are awesome. You know a reason why? PSAs are awesome. All the framing techniques and audio techniques is in the storytelling. Storytelling is huge in PSAs. What's really cool is there's a lot of contests for PSAs. A lot of money contests in PSAs. Okay? And again, I go back to what's the storytelling you want to take? They have to have a point, and you only get like 30 seconds. And they didn't have the contest issue. They did something, didn't they, Marcus? The safety council?
I don't remember seeing one.
I didn't remember seeing one either.
Yeah.
Because was it last year?
Won. Waverly, you guys.
Was it what you guys won? You guys won? It was last year. Was it last year? We had a thing on distracted driving in Waverly. We won Class A. You won B. You won D1 or D?
D or C. Yeah.
D or C. One of the two is. We won 3 of them $2,000 check. $2,000. Drug programs. 3 of us. 3 of the 4 winners right here. PSAs are actually kind of cool. Kids actually like them. Promos. You do sporting events. What's your promotional video? Here's another thing. People always think, okay, what's your sporting event here? Okay. Also talking about what your clubs and organizations. Walk to your FFA teacher. Hey, we want to do a promotional video for you for next summer. Ooh. Okay. And I always say this in promos videos. When we get to that, curriculum always says this. Promo video. You have less than 30 seconds. In fact, you have about 15. And my kids look at me and went, huh? I'm like, guys, promos. They're on this, right? And then we do another lesson, and we open up YouTube. And we look at things called analytics. And on YouTube analytics, the number, like, people drop, like, they literally, YouTube tracks you, like, you drop off after like 15 seconds. It's like, they have like 5 seconds and 15 seconds. There's a reason why they have that on YouTube. It's because marketers want to know. Well, guys, and I had kids go, God, we had this really cool promo. I think they did it for our FCCLA. And he wanted to make like 45 seconds. No. Not 45. Make 2 20-second ones. Put the logo at the end. 2 different ones. Promote it over and over and over. Every 15 seconds, they see your logo at the end. The more you see it, because if you have a 1-minute video, they'll get about 30 seconds and they'll stop. Trust me, look at the analytics, they'll stop. So make 15 second, make 20 second. Okay? And you can do a lot of promos. Every club, every organization, 1 act. You do promos all the time. People think sports, do activities. Man, clubs, advisors, like, oh, you do promo for FFA? Yeah. Okay, you have a camera? Yeah, it's called your phone. And don't film like this. Film like this, please. But I mean, our FFA advisor, it's like, please go out and film. You guys film some really weird, fun stuff. And give it to me. We'll make a promo video for you. We'll make the logo. Our kids will do this. And then movies. Okay, movies. Kids love doing movies. Some are good, some are bad. But you know, guys, that's the learning process. And that's what I give my second phrase I always use with students all the time is, guys, let's do some experimental failure. We're going to experiment, we're going to fail. And we're going to love failing. Okay, the kids did movies, they sit back there and they critique themselves. They went, oh my Lord, that was so bad because of this. Oh yeah, you failed. You still got your A because you followed all the rubrics. So what could you do better? And they're excited to come back to my Bearcat Vision class, but they want to redo the movie again. They want to redo it again. Cool. Okay. So again, we're talking about different projects. Okay, here's 9. Okay, and that's just in video production. Okay, and even if from these, you can break these down. Okay, but again, what do you want to do? Guys, again, don't fret about your ability. I was there. You know, I could quote Gatsby more than I could quote video production 10 years ago. Okay, it is what it is. We'll help you. We'll help you. But also here's another thing here for curriculum. Don't forget the small stuff. Okay, here's some really cool curriculum ideas. You guys think about, okay, what do I want to do? All the kids want to focus on big ideas, right? I'm gonna make Hoosier really work now. Get his arm working out. Guys, everything's, oh, let's make a movie. Now, slow down. How about deconstruct a video? We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to show you how we deconstruct a video in a second. Okay? How about a movie trailer analysis? You guys ever use Ed puzzles? I love Ed puzzles. Okay, if you never use Ed puzzle, they're actually really kind of cool. Because you can take a video from YouTube, a clip, and you can ask questions, and you can put it right in. Okay? We break down movie trailers all the time. What was good cinematography? What was bad? What was good sound? What was bad? Okay? I have what's called formative assessments. Am I about out of time?
Yep.
Okay. I'm good, I'm about done. Formative assessments means, guys, here's a 5-minute lesson. Can you create a text element in Premiere Pro and show it to me that goes behind this lighthouse? Here's a video of a lighthouse, right? I want the word lighthouse, but I want it to go scroll in and go behind lighthouse. Here's a YouTube video that shows how to do it. Show me how to do it. Takes 5 minutes, sometimes less. I do them every Monday. Okay? And here's some, that's Adobe Made Simple. Subscribe to that. They got really a lot of cool little things that he does. That's where I get some of my ideas from. Premiere Gal, she's great. Okay, I have a breakdown Adobe Premiere. Premiere Basics, Silicon.net, and Film Riot. Okay. Oh, okay.
Rob, are those educators or are they professionals?
Those are all professionals.
Yeah.
Those are all professionals. Again, these are the ones I got. These are getting my formative assessments from. Because, you know, the software is so intense, it's so big, I don't know what's there. So I'm like, what am I supposed to teach today? So I kind of go through, I peruse, I look at some of this, and go, oh, that's a really cool one. Because what happens is kids will make a cool video, but then you'll see it, they'll do the same effect over and over and over again. So you know what? If I can do a formative assessment at the start of every Monday, here it is, guys, 5 minutes, here's your formative assessment. Here's the video, here's what I want you to do. Guys, I don't even have to, most of the time, I don't even have to make the video for it. Here's a link to YouTube. Just listen to this guy. He's going to tell you what to do. Show me you did it. Take them 5 minutes, they do it, moving on, now they learned a new trick. Okay. Actually, the last thing I'm going to show you here, because I this up. We're talking about deconstructing videos. You know, we all saw the Husker video for the women's volleyball team. We asked the kids, okay, how they do that opening.
Here to our fans, and they stepped up and have been since 2001.
We tell the kids, they open, how they do that. Got it. They figured it out. Okay? See the girls up here have this lens flare, how they do that. That's deconstructing a video. We spent half a class doing this. But when they did that, they see videos like this and they think, this is really, really awesome and cool, and they find out, we can do that. We can do this. But yeah, you can. You just don't have a $10,000 camera and you don't have Memorial Stadium.
You don't have
and you have John Cook talking in the background. But can you do the video? Yes. Then let's do that video. Because eventually, you might get things like this. And this is what I'm most proud of. This is where my kids are at right now. I'd love to see where your guys are. I got a kid at Rivals. Kid started his own company, 308 Kid at Central Community College. Student just took the sports director job at North Platte Post. Cam Rath, he's a Carney guy. Jeff Ekstrom is at Rivals. If there is a Striv Hall of Fame, if Jeff Ekstrom is not on the first ballot, Striv Hall of Fame, then I'm going to boycott Striv. Okay? True? UNK. I got kids at UNK Football Creative, Loper Vision, Kay Loper Sports Director. I had a girl watch Creighton basketball. I know, it's Creighton. It's okay. She literally spammed the creative director and said, I have a camera I want to create. He texted her back and said, sure. So she did it pro bono because she wanted to. 2 days later, she texts me, I'm on the floor of a nationally televised Creighton basketball game taking shots and videos. She's a freshman, college freshman. She's actually at UNO. She's not even a Creighton student. Okay? And I was like, hey, you're at UNO. She goes, we don't have a good basketball team. I had a kid at Husker Football Creative. If you watch Husker hype videos, he made them. Help me. Husker Creative. It's called the Corn Creator. Husker Vision. We all heard that one. I got 3 students start Husker Vision next year. And I think there's 5 total Strive kids. I think 5 Strive kids are starting a Husker Vision next year. Emerging Media. If you've never toured the Emerging Media, you got it. Can it pave your way? Yeah. I know it can pay for a way because my son is heading to Georgia Southern. Full ride grad assistant job. What's he doing? He's going to make videos for Georgia Southern football team. They're going to pay for his master's and they're going to give him a monthly stipend. Why? Because he made videos for Husker football. That's literally how he got that. What's that?
And they beat us.
And they beat us. He's moving up. I know. I told him, we're going down there next week. We're going to go down there. And we're like, dude, you got to own it. Yes, thank you for beating us. That means we got rid of Frost. That's the only way we can do it. You're going to get Frost. But they're out there, kids are doing. Okay, again, I'm done. I'm talking here. But your curriculum, the only things I really want you guys to think about and know is find your path. Where does it end? And guys, be ready to fail. And have fun failing. And show me your failures. Because they're like cooler than the successes. Okay? Have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you guys later on.
One thing I hate about Rob is that he has no energy or passion. Like, Rob, give us more.
Kind of plastic.
We need more. All right. What I want you to do while Marcus is setting up for his session is share one thing you learned or a quote in the media room in Future Ready Educators. That's our digital media space where Rob mentioned we do have a curriculum. A lot of you guys use that. That is a paid and extra product that you have to purchase outside of Striv TV. It's called Striv Education, and that's our digital media curriculum and courses that's in there available for your guys' class. That's Rob's curriculum that he's developed in Shanda Hall as well. So share one thing you learned, and then Marcus, it's yours whenever you're ready. If you don't have access to the media room, just hit, you should be able to hit join the room.
Hey.
Good job, Marcus.
Now, my one caveat for paper is that you still listen, right? Don't just
Don't skip ahead.
I've seen this. If you can skip ahead, you're pretty good.
Did you make these in Canva?
Yep. All in Canva.
I got to review these while drinking a slushy at Sonic at 11 o'clock at night Friday.
Oh, after the All-Star game?
Yeah. Tell you what, they turned the lights off on us real quick. They wanted us out of there. Sprinklers came on. I'm like, uh-oh.
No bats?
No bats. That was not this year.
Cops came out.
Yeah. There's some air ride pickup trucks and some cops and oh my.
Got baseball game there?
Nope. They're out of town this week.
Oh, the whole week?
Yeah.
Or is that
They were in
usually
town
work?
last week. They did it Saturday night. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So they do
3 games a week?
6 games in one. 6 games on the road.
Oh, no, I should. Yeah, I should.
Links in the bio.
They do double headers?
I was trying to figure out how I should brand this, and I was like, well, I don't know.
Tuesdays or
Striv
Saturdays?
because it's like, I don't want it to
Well,
feel like it's
that's the
going.
only day that works. So we.
They'll do 6.
You gotta get some Jordan here today.
If you share-
What are these guys?
If you share the Canva with
It's their
Jordan,
full-time.
you probably put the links.
That's their full-time job. They make it enough to baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, at the minor.
The minor.
We
That's-
tried some video
this is
stuff
the-
in it.
They call that-
I haven't tried the video part yet, but yeah, it's pretty good.
We used it for all of our graphics, and I like the, create a classroom and then
Can you do the branding?
Ooh.
Branding stuff is really nice.
And so then our graphics were like very
Now
but then they changed from Paul Winter, some kid was playing with it and I'm like, oh, we want to put a picture in it, so there's the background, so then it kind of changed, so.
Canva is like the best parts of Photoshop.
And now you guys are layers in Canva, where you put it in layers. So now there's a layer section in Canva, so it's actually, so you get to be able to see the layers and move them.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but
He does that.
you can't do
And it's free.
it. They do.
I like free, but I'm afraid that it's like everything else, it's like, you're agreeing with the free, and then you're.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think Canva's branding is that it's free for forever. It's just whether or not that's what they need to add new features.
For the education part, yeah. A
9
lot of times they do change things, like, oh, this is something else, and then in a few years, whoa, we got all this.
We've been using it long enough that like it's definitely one of those things that they're they're like, yeah, it was super awesome.
That was 28,000.
Yeah, well, and I do pay a little bit, like, I'll pay on the back of there's some things in
They
there.
just Thursday night. Yesterday they were deciding. Well, in the St. Louis,
All right, I guess we can go ahead and kind of get started here. I gave you a paper copy here as a good reference. Again, I made this presentation. There's going to be a lot on some of these slides, but this is more supposed to be a reference for you to go back on and look at, and I'll try to make sure everybody gets a PDF copy who wants one. But like, hopefully this is a good reference for you in decision making. Now, I'm here to, I'm Marcus Shear from Johnson County Central, and I'm talking about equipment here, and specifically like the cameras and communication setup stuff. But I'm not gonna be like, hey, you need to buy this certain camera, or hey, you're looking for, you know, a specific lens or anything specific. Like, I get kind of specific on some of these slides. My goal here is to kind of educate you on what some of that stuff means, so you can make the best decision based off of a whole bunch of other things, based off of your gyms, based off of your budget, based off what your kids are trying to do project-wise, that then you can help balance all those variables, and you have more knowledge about all the different types of cameras that are best suited for you. So we'll just start out here, and of course it's going to work here. So we'll start with what cameras that we actually use at JCC. Then we'll go into the crew communication that goes along with that, and then some example of how we set up our equipment in terms of camera locations and stuff like that. This past year we upgraded to the Canon XF605 cameras. These are definitely on the high end camera wise, but it was just a good combination of all the things I just talked about, why we decided to go at this level of camera. But the 4 whys I'm going to highlight and your decision making on your cameras are brand name, your zoom reach, image quality, low light, and ports and I/O. Now there's some things we don't talk about here. One of them is like based off of your projects. What type of projects are you making? How does that align with what gear you currently have or what gear you're wanting? This is going to be really quick. Choosing the brand, I say stick with the major brands. So if it's like, you don't want to go with like a, I can't even give you an example, but like one of those small companies that you don't know anything about. I'm going to talk about video cameras. You will have different options that you could go away from a video camera, but whenever you're thinking video camera, that's with the lens built in. That's not an interchangeable lens. And then once you get to a brand, I highly suggest stick with that brand. You're going to be able to have more familiarity with all the menus of how it operates. It's easier to manage white balance, and you get to share batteries. So like, I don't know how many of you guys have ever used your battery only for a live stream. But like now that we got these new cameras, I would say almost every concert we streamed this year was only on battery. And it's not a real big deal, but it saves on setup. So, Zoom. Okay, here is going to be a lot of information here, but like the biggest question I always have for our live stream is, do we have enough Zoom for it? I recommend a minimum of 15 times optical zoom. If you can't get a 20-time optical zoom, that's great. The 605 is only 15 though. Optical zoom is what's literally going to be on your hardware of your lens. So that's going to be your best quality. You do have digital zoom, which is more just the camera itself zooming in on that image. But the benefit about getting that zoom is that you get this is from across, this is a football field shot on our live stream, and that's as tight as we're able to get with good zoom range. So zoom is going to be especially important. That bottom line is on the multi-cam setup. If this was a one-camera stream for football, there's probably going to be no way I'd ever tell our person to zoom in that far, right? That'd be a lot.
Zoom back out.
Yeah, you got to zoom back out. Now my background is in still photography, and I'm going to show you kind of comparison of like what all the millimeter lenses go. So if we go back to the slide, the really cool part, these are all video cameras up in the corner. You have the 20 times optical zoom, but then you have the 35 millimeter equivalent. So like on the XF605, the 35 millimeter equivalent is 25.5 and 382 millimeters. And that's the range of that lens. And if you're not familiar with that, this is what that shows. So like this is the XF605, and it's going from 25 millimeters all the way zoomed in to 382. Versus a film camera, that's like a 70-200 is what I use for basketball all the time. That's what that range is. The big football cameras you see on the sideline are 400 prime. That's only right here, but your video cameras can do all this whole range. Now this is going to be nothing new because all of your video cameras have a big range like that. But as technology gets better and you have the 20% optical zoom, this white bar is going to get longer and longer and longer. And that's going to really benefit you on multi-cam streaming, any concerts you're doing, not necessarily like hype videos, but like I guess hype videos for football, having that zoom range is going to be really good. Because if that runner is going from the 15-yard line, running up the sideline, and they're only this far away from you, and then they go on and score a touchdown, you can be zooming in and out and following them the whole way. So I thought this is kind of a good chart to kind of show why that zoom is so good. The next are just a couple of examples of what the zoom will do for you. So we play 8-man football right now. This is what a pre-snap image would look like. So this is your more of a wider shot. And then after the play gets done, we would follow the ball, and then we'd switch to a tight shot. I wanted to put a map view on here, but I didn't know if it was really going to be that helpful. Just how far back we are. We're playing 8-man football. We're on an 11-man field. We have a track. Then there's concrete, the bleachers, more concrete, and then the press box. So we're pretty far away. Here's an example of tight shots that you can do, and this is in volleyball. So we're at half body shots, and I know it might be kind of hard to see the lighting here, but that image is nice and crisp. If you have an older video camera, you might be hopping into your optical zoom, and this image quality will start to go down a lot. So those are the 3 volleyball shots that you can get by, that's one advantage of a video camera versus a DSLR. There are some advantages of doing the DSLR stuff, but for us, having that zoom range is really important. The second quality that I think is really important in determining the camera is your low light and image quality here. So this is where we're kind of getting really technical. The big thing here is the sensor size. So the sensor size is listed here for just 4 models of cameras. And the bigger, the better. So like the G40, which is what we used to have, is 1 over 2.84 inches sensor. So that's pretty small versus like the 605 and the XA75 are both 1 inch sensors. So that's just the amount of light it can take in. So if you've noticed that your football streams are getting pretty grainy or don't look the best, or if your gym lighting is still from the 60s, your low light is going to be important. If you really want to get into the weeds, there's 2 other camera values: the minimum light illumination and sensitivity. Actually, kind of gets in that detail. If you really are interested in the technical values, this is actually straight from Access, who does all security cameras. And of course, so security cameras are really important on low light, because how many times you see a security camera and you can't tell what's going on because it's too dark. So this is talking about those measurements of what that means, because it's basically a signal to noise ratio is what it is. So if you want to dive into deep, you can do that. But like that, if you're wondering like, why is this camera $1,000 more than this other camera? It has the same zoom range, it has the same ports, it has the same screen size. It could just be this image sensor. Similar to like full frame cameras versus crop sensor cameras, but if anyone's into photo cameras, that's what that kind of is too. So this is just an example, and it's kind of apples versus oranges, but this is from 2015 when we started, in 2022, same football field lights. This is about the same part of the field we're at, but we can control our exposure and bump up that gain a lot on our current cameras compared to our old ones. So you can see much better after sunset. Just in terms of screen quality, now this is also, these are not original camera files, these are still just from our Wirecast recordings, but it's maybe hard to see here. There's kind of a difference in image quality already in terms of how sharp that really is here. Same shot, just zoomed in, so image quality wise. Ports, this is where I'm going to really try to kind of go over this really quickly, because I didn't want to, we could go over a whole bunch of technical stuff, but most of your cameras that you're going to be picking from are going to have the HDMI. They're going to have the remote for your zoom controller part. They're going to have those ports. Those are pretty much, if you don't have that, they should not be, they're not going to ever be on any of our lists to buy. The other ports that we're looking for are SDI. Again, the benefit for SDI for us is I can have my camera right there and our computer right here, and I don't have to worry about a cable. SDI can go up to 300 feet, I think it is. So we have a different, I have like a 75-footer that we carry a lot. I have a spool, that's the 300-foot that we use once in a while. But we've moved everything to SDI. Again, if you are looking to jump into multicam, like when you go to make the big jump in, that's when you want to maybe look at that. SDI will come in when we get to the next slides later on about where we're setting up cameras as well. Battery life. Actually, this is something I haven't even talked to Jordan about yet, but like, yeah, we have started streaming on batteries a lot. And it just, by the time you get everything set up and have to do setup and get, I mean, we can do one less power strip. It's it's a lot less setup if we're running on batteries. It's easier to do projects if your batteries can last more than 20 minutes. So like, I think our smallest batteries can do more than 3 hours.
Ooh.
So, our big one I think is over 500 minutes, which is whatever that is.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Then having all the cameras are nice, depending on what you want, but crew communication is very important. So the real, we'll talk about it here, but the real thing is more of just having practice with somebody who's done it before. Because yes, I can give you all the tools, but if they're not talking about the things that they should be talking about, you're not maybe gaining the advantage of having crew communication. So it's kind of hard to see here. I have 2 different examples here. This one's between the camera switcher, and I know terminology, different people use different things. the camera switcher is talking with the camera operators on this section, and then the person running the Wirecast computer is talking more to the camera switcher and camera ops on this section. The ones in bold are more the people who are the ones, quote unquote, talking. So, in communication, this is what I think are the main things that they're talking about. Yes, I might be talking to Jeremy about what my dog did or what I'm going to be doing after the stream, but I need to be talking about this. So this is switching camera views is this main switcher job. So they're communicating and directing your camera operations. And I kind of split this up into two groups. The first one is just telling the cameras when to move, when their shot is on the live stream, and then if they have any adjustments in terms of framing, in terms of making sure that they're on the right person. Because if Rob hit the basket, but they're on Jeremy, that camera switcher is probably gonna be the one he needs to tell him, no, you're on the wrong person, we need to go to Rob. We also, like we literally have, like, if we're waiting before concert typically, we literally have exercises where I tell a kid to pick somebody in the crowd, and then I would say like, okay, I'm seeing somebody with a hat. And then the other people in the group will have to describe where that person is. So that I can't just say that white hat is over there. No, I have to be like, left side of the room, second row, second guy in. It's descriptions like that, because the goal of that is that then when it comes to the live stream, they're not saying, oh, go to that guy over there, or go to the kid in the black shirt, and they have no idea who you're talking about. It's developing those skills and common terminology, and we're doing this as a group too, so they get used to how each other describes things, that then it's easier for your crew to communicate, to snap, to get to the correct person right away. The more advanced methods of this communication is you're able to hide the camera movement. So if you're on the wrong person, instead of watching that camera move from Jeremy to Rob and they're herky-jerky to get there, or if I'm going from this corner of the room to Taylor back there, that you don't see that on your multicam switching, that communication, you're not just dependent on that switcher if you have good communication to hide that. The other thing on the communication is setting up shots relevant to the commentary and game flow. So what that means is that at the beginning of your game, you might be talking about your star players, you might be talking about the coaches. So I think it's fairly recognizable if you are guys sitting up for streaming for a basketball game, if there's a bench here and a bench there, where are you going to find the head coaches? You know, one's going to be over on this bench and one's going to be over on that bench. But for somebody who's never watched basketball, they may not have any clue. It also is good for them to communicate ahead of time. The head coach is the one that's wearing a black polo, or the star player is actually number 32, so go find number 32. And that's all pregame chatter that can be happening with your crew ahead of time. The game flow is, I was talking about what are our opening 3 shots when we go live. So typically what are some of the opening shots? We're establishing where we are. So I don't want a close-up on Hoosier to start a stream necessarily. I might want a wider shot of the whole room that shows where we're at. And that shot could be a static shot, that could be a slow pan. So establishing where we're at, establishing who's playing, establishing what's most important to the game. So like since we started Striv, we've had 2 incredibly amazing fog games. And so we want to highlight that. So if you went to a commercial, sometimes people just pull out their phones right away, right? If we're having good crew communication, we should be talking about what are we showing when we're coming back from commercial. What was something that was just relevant to what happened in the game. For those fog games, we showed a nice big wide shot that's panning the whole football stadium to see that you could literally see the fog rolling in, and the fog was only about 80 foot tall, and it was like the last 80 feet of ground is what was covered in fog. So that again is more switcher and camera ops communication. if we go over to Wirecast, and this Wirecast is more of what I would, like the producer that's making all the final decisions. They're basically doing any transitions in and out of breaks, graphics, timeouts, anytime you're taking a break. Technically, these guys are also communicating with, they need to make sure they're communicating with the commentators, but they may not be on crew communication. So the basic is communicating to the whole crew of when timeouts occur, when commercials are coming, both in and out. And if you don't want to switch the camera, for example, why this is important. You don't want to necessarily switch to your secondary camera and then have it on the screen for like a half a second right before the commercial hits. So what I like to do is try to establish a pattern, and that means, okay, after that, if they score a touchdown and they kick the PAT, we're going to commercial right away. You can't just sit there for 45 seconds chatting and then want to send it to commercial, because then you won't get back in time for kickoff. You also want to make sure everybody's on the same page for that, so then your switcher is not switching right as that camera occurs. Not really a big deal, but when you're talking about production, I don't want to switch to a shot of the away team, and then I'm going to go switch to a shot of the home team, and it only shows up there for half a second, and then we're on a commercial. So that's what the Wirecast person has to make sure they do it. I know there's a lot of different hand signals, but this is our kind of a universal signal to know what we're saying here. Keep it going, just keep going. And then we hold up a stop sign or break, break. All those are kind of universal signals that we use. Of course, I can audibly be saying that too for the people who are all on the same microphone. But that is only the basic part. The other thing is, like we talked about the fog stuff, that can also be more of like, maybe your more experienced person is your Wirecast person that can help direct more. So finding creative and establishing shots, intros and outros out of break. That can be kind of helped by this person, especially if you have graphics to be showing at the same time. So like we have a graphic that is just like a little lower third about right here that comes up. Everybody on that crew needs to know that that's coming up, so they don't frame a shot that like the most important thing is hidden right behind that graphic. And that's why this person needs to be involved, the Wirecast person needs to be involved with that type of communication. Same thing for highlighting players and coaches, if you have on-screen graphics for that. I don't know why I put that there. So like this person also can kind of give a good view because they've only seen the program feed. They can be helping provide the switcher good reminders of what we've seen and what we haven't seen. Because sometimes as a switcher, you can kind of get inundated by, you might know that that camera has been on that one really cool thing 4 or 5 times, but we still haven't seen it yet because it never got taken live, right? So that's what this is kind of here for, I think in my opinion, was that person running Wirecast should be able to kind of help with that type of communication because they've seen what's been on the stream. Kind of highlighted this before, but before it's establishing keywords, especially, so we see this a lot at state. If a switcher is with camera operators that have never worked with before, their definition of what a wide shot, tight shot, medium shot, that could all be slightly different. So I like to make sure that they know what words they're using, how they say, like how they identify people. Are they saying wide camera, tight camera, camera 1, camera 2? Are they using names? I don't like to use names. I think names are tougher to recall really quickly. If your camera operators have switched positions between games, then you're now have to if you're the switcher, you have to rethink those. So I like to use terms that are literally describing what you're seeing. So tight, wide, camera 1, camera 2. Knock that all out before the stream starts. And this is like what you could literally talk about at class too. During the stream, what communication should happen is letting cameras know before their shot goes live. You can't just be like, and I'm on camera 2 now. Because if that camera 2 is not quite ready, whether they're just readjusting their feet and they're not quite set, or their arm is just cramped right in the wrong position, and then they have to like, jerk a little bit to get their shot nice and steady. It should be like ready camera 2, taking camera 2. So you know which camera is coming up next. If you're only doing 2 cameras, that's not a big deal because they know either they're on live or they're coming up next. If you get past 2, if you get to 3 or 4 cameras, then it's really important to know, let that person know that they are going to be going live. If you get a 4 camera, remote camera, I highly recommend for the switcher, I don't have it on here, is that when you say we're going to 4 camera, we're on 4 camera now, is that every couple seconds be like, we're still on 4 camera, we're still on 4 camera, we're still on 4 camera. And then your floor camera operator will be able to tell you, hey man, my arms are killing me here, or I have a ref like chatting in my ear, they need to move or something like that. And they can tell you when they get off. The worst part is if you're running that floor camera, they say you're they're on me, and I'm worried about this shot. I'm trying to get a close up of this player, and I'm worried about all the things around me like they should be, and then I can't remember if they're still on me or not. Now, if the floor camera operator is a good one, they will ask, hey, are you still on me? If they're not as experienced, they might just get tired and they might just walk back. And now on the stream, you have a video of the floor, right? So that's like the example of the communication that I like, is constantly reiterating that whatever camera you're on. During breaks, the switcher, Wirecast should all be able to help count people back in. So normally for our setup, switcher and Wirecast has some sort of communication. The person running Wirecast may be not always able to talk to the camera people. If that's the case, the switcher needs to be saying back what they're hearing from Wirecast. So Wirecast will tell 15 seconds. Switcher says 15 seconds. We'll say 10, they need to say 10, and then count them back in until we're live. So everybody should know. And then for commentators, I use hand signals, 10 seconds. This is 15 for me because I don't want to do it. So 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I kind of tell them to hold, because depending on who's running Wirecast, they might take an extra half a second to clear that layer and then bring back the audio. And then once they're ready, then I go, now you're good to talk. In terms of equipment, in terms of what we use for career communication. Yes, you can get fancy stuff, but we literally started with our old USB audio board, and all we had to buy was just headsets. Every kid had their own headset. When we talk about student engagement, this was my #1 way to keep kids engaged on a stream, is putting everybody on a headset so they could hear and talk to the other people. Because again, basketball games, if you're sitting that far apart, it might be kind of hard to hear, and you just kind of get used to this kind of zoning in the game, right? By giving everybody a headset, yes, they might be a little distracted here, but like, it doesn't take any fancy equipment. For years, this is how we ran it. This was our modified version of that same thing, but it was rack mount. So it was just less setup for us, because now instead of 4 power cables, I was down to 1. But this is our current setup and layout. So this is where we started. That's where when we just expanded to multicam over here. So we weren't on the same level. You can see here, this is where we had it set up. Wirecast, switcher, commentators, computer, cameras. Everybody could still communicate. This is where we're currently set up. So it's pretty much the same. If I probably would build a new gym, I like to have everybody in the same row again. It's good for communication. This is at Medekis. Pretty much the opposite view of what we just saw in our gym. The only thing is we kind of have it already over here. I think if I could do this different, I would move camera 2 over here, move switcher down, and move Wirecast right by commentators. I typically like to have Wirecast close to the commentators. If possible, I like to have a switcher next to the Wirecast though. Here's ECNC at SEC. So pretty much the same thing, except we've moved away everything from half court over to here. So this is where SDI cables come in handy because we can go these longer distances. This is also what this looks like just from a graphical view. So all it needs to take, this is what we used to run, is SDI. If you're doing crew communication, hardwired, it took more cables because we had to have an XLR cable at half port, one for microphone, another one for their ear, and then we had to run one all the way down to the tight camera. Now that we have, if you go wireless communication, you can get rid of both of those XLR cables. And so now for this, all we have to do is run power to half port, because there's no power in the middle, and then an SDI cable to each camera. Yes.
Did you man camera 3?
Yes.
For most of those? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If we had space, this is probably how I'd run most of our games, especially if you got instant replay. But like if we go back to this at Medecus, multi-cam switching does not have to be that complicated. It can just be this. Literally, your two cameras are side by side. That's how we run it on our home games. That's, you don't need wireless headsets to do that. This is just another view of the equipment, but this gives you a view of the audio board that we were running at that time before wireless headsets. Again, just another view of what this looks like in a different gym. We put our main table in the corner with our switcher and Wirecast, camera there, camera mid-court, far camera. Now, you don't have to man that far camera if you don't have enough people, but I like having those tight shots. I didn't do it on this presentation, but we can kind of go into when you're using each of those tight shots to get in a pattern. So again, this is just good for reference of how this is laid out. Yeah. Once you get to that many cables, it always looks crazy. Then volleyball, we're just at SEC here. Same type of thing, except we're in the middle. So this is pretty much like it is at our home, except that we don't have a fancy stand. This kind of gives you a view, though, of our wide camera, our two tight cameras at each corner, and then we just have a small Marshall camera as like a super wide shot. So this is our football. I know each press box is really tight. Up top here are two consecutive camera bays. So there's actually a wall between these, or press box bays. There's literally a wall right here. So we put our commentators, scoreboard operator, and Wirecast here. It's not the best because actually our scoreboard is way over there. So this person really kind of has to hang out the window to see it. And then in the second room over here, this is our football coach. Sometimes there's actually two of them there. And then we have our two cameras. We try to always put camera one closest to half court or closest to midfield. And then just to the right here on this table is our switcher. You can see here, this is our comms again. The way we handle this is that it's one SDI cable all the way back to the computer. So even a lot of times we have a nice setup when we're right next to each other, but then there's other games where we're really kind of spread out. So I kind of try to see if you had any questions.
Can you go back one slide?
Yeah.
Have you explored anything about, since you have two separate rooms, which is, I know, quite different than most people have, have you explored anything about wiring in the walls some HDMI ports so that instead of stringing cable through the rooms or outside of the rooms, you could actually just plug it in the wall over here and it's coming into the other
It probably wouldn't be that bad of an idea. Right now, it's just actually just HDMI or SDI cables right through here, and that's the hardest. And then it's just one cable on the ground right now. Except, I guess, if we want to bring in comms from the commentators, so we try to bring in our commentating audio into our crew communication. So that's also another cable that's on the ground across. But again, I'm hoping that this could be a good resource for you as you start to think about how you want to set up your gyms.
Someone put the lights. We already got an email from someone online asking for the slides.
Yep.
So this conversation is going to happen in the open field. That's our streaming space. We're trying to separate all the different things that we do into the correct, have the conversations in the right places. So if you want to share the slides in the open field, and we'll probably email them out too. There's just a Canva link, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I can give you the Canva link. The PDF, I can give you two.
Okay.
PDF's pretty big, it's like 50 megs because there's all the photos.
Yeah, let's start with the Canva link and then they can download it if they want. More questions though, go ahead, and then Eric's up.
Yes.
I just wanted to know more about your switcher, what you're using.
So we use, show you if I go back, you can actually see it in the rack. It's actually on the top here. It's like a 2/3 rack size. That's the Blackmagic 810 Television Studio HD. They don't actually sell that exact model anymore. You probably can find that one online though. The reason why we like this is that it works really great for us. It has 4 HDMI inputs and 4 SDI inputs. And so at the time when we first bought it, we were kind of in a mixture of, we use a lot of HDMI for a lot of stuff, but then like we were still traveling for ECNC and Udicus, those ones we used SDI, so I wanted a switcher with both. We actually started with Television Studio, I think that's what it was called. It was a rack mount with no buttons, no nothing, and that was the same floor mat, 4 HDMI, 4 SDI. So we were always able to do both, so we wanted to do that. Now we don't use these buttons on the front except for small concerts. For a small concert, we will just use this, and they can operate the switcher straight on the rack, on this. Most of the time, we still just bring the laptop, and they use a laptop to run the switching.
So that's like it's a separate
With Ethernet, so yeah, on the back of this is the Ethernet port, and then we put the Ethernet to the laptop. So, yeah, so this is similar actually to the Mini, or what was that what they call it? 810 Minis?
Well, the 810 Mini Pro would have 4
But
HDMI.
But if you just think about it in terms of the buttons on the front, and then it's similar to that, except it's not rack mount. This is rack mount.
Right.
Yes.
If you're a school that struggles with student involvement, what advice would you give for trying to keep them engaged in the broadcast and live stream?
So like we struggle with that as well too, because a lot of the kids that we're getting, you know, we have the kids that are in every activity, and then you have these kids, some kids that are in no activities, that don't have any parental support. They don't understand that like you're not going to not go to a basketball game because like if you're a basketball player, I'm not going to go to a basketball game because I have to work, right? I'm going to go because I'm part of the team. I need to be there for a basketball game, right? But for some of our students, it's hard that I've never had any team activity like that to know, no, you're scheduled to be on Striv. If you don't show up there, especially for the way we're set up, if one person doesn't show up, 2 other people might not have a job because it needs 3 people to run, right? So we still struggle with that is the caveat I have for that. Over the years though, getting a headset on every kid for this group communication was the #1 way to keep them involved in the stream. And I felt like if you rotated them through so everyone could see what the live switching was like, and if they were running a tight camera, running those 2 jobs also kept them more engaged. Because like, for example, what Hoosier's doing right now is probably similar to the wide camera basketball, and it can be kind of boring, right? Because you're just following the action, you're not, I mean, yes, it's a really important job, and we actually talked about how that camera needs to be doing a lot of subtle things, but if they're doing those other jobs and they're talking with people, that's like probably our #1 way to make the stream engaging, and then that helps with them just overall on the engagement with the events, is by making the event seem like a big deal, seem like they're making, yeah, they're doing good work that is important.
What do you do when kids don't show up?
So it depends. So if we can, we pull people from the crowd, and this is where it's nice, and but it also hurts us. We're in a different town than our middle school is, so we're not able to pull middle school kids. But the middle school kids who do show up, we will pull them. Sometimes, we've had teachers that will fill in or run a camera. Our principal and our superintendent have both ran a camera before. So a lot of times we pull people in if we need to. Now I know not everybody is going to be willing to do that.
Like, is this it's a class?
It's a
So
class
do they
with
get
a-
a zero if your kid
There's
doesn't
a
show
class,
up?
it's a class and they have grades associated with that. And that was part of our deal was how do we convince kids that they need to show up? We've now done that 2 years. I'm not sure putting a grade on it has made a difference at all. Because the kids who still show up will show up, the kids who won't, they won't. And then it kind of hurts you because if they're getting a 0 for not showing up, and then it might be their Striv class that they're ineligible on. So the way we also organize it is that if whatever job they're doing is as part of a grade, they can still do it if they're ineligible. Now I make a judgment call on whether or not I actually may have them do that or not. I've had, like for example, I had a kid who was like in that scenario. I told him, you haven't showed up at all for stuff you have to show up, but then you're just gonna get study time. So that's what I did. I made them show up and then they work on their other stuff. Yeah.
I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to make sure that it's on the stream and everything. You've been really fortunate. You've had some really good admins over your years that have really supported your ideas. Talk about your kind of workflow and how you work back and forth with your admins, because I know it's different size schools have it differently. So take us through your experience.
Well, I can start at the beginning. We were really fortunate because the same summer, our superintendent, our athletic director, and I all found Striv all separately, and we all thought it was a good idea. All having within the same like couple months span, it felt like. But it's making sure everybody is on board of why we're doing this, because it goes back to all the stuff that Striv always talks about is education. It's about being able to brand your school. It's about getting your events out to grandparents, to family members that aren't in the district. It's all that stuff, and we're not doing this to make money. We're not doing this because we feel pressure to put something. This should be an educational thing that's good for our school, that's good for our patrons, that's good for our viewers. We worked together for up until we got Hello Focus cameras. We recorded our separately on our cameras while we streamed for Hello. So we talked to our coaches about why we stream, why it should be good for them to let us stream their games, because different coaches have different ideas about that. I don't know, is there anything specific you want me to
Not necessarily. I mean, it's been good. You've had good admins that are willing to allow some different things. You guys do, 60, 70 events throughout the school year too?
Yeah, so I make sure we actually talk about some of the common concerns about streaming. Is it going to take away gate? Well, no, we looked at the numbers. If anything, our first 3 years of starting Striv, our gate went up. Because you had people who were starting to watch and they saw we had good teams that year, got people fired up, and by the end of the year, we were having pretty good crowds. And so we had the conversations ahead of time, and then they saw the literal results of that happening, that it can help build the brand and help get other people, because if you don't have people coming in the building, that's a good way to get them in, their foot in. We don't put up our recordings, but that could change in the future, because that was one of the things I had a discussion with our coaches on what we can and can't do, and what we would be showing people and stuff like that. And originally, we came up with a plan. We were not going to put games on demand. Now our tournament games are all on YouTube. Those are our big ones, our tournament games. So, and I mean, everybody has Huddle nowadays, so we might. The other reason why, though, not athletic director-wise, but for our kids, is that by not putting every single game online, we talked about like Striv and school in general being a safe spot to fail, is I don't want a 2-second mistake to be on the internet for someone to find to then use against a kid.
To that point, we have put some of our recordings just unlisted on YouTube so that kids can go back and watch it. But you're right, it's not out there for the public to just stumble across.
Because while I'm pretty active in terms of making sure I'm hearing something, you know, you never know if something comes through. Like for example, the biggest issue we ever had with any stream was that we got a call from another admin from an opposing school who was saying that the kid was cussing on our stream. And that was during a football game, and so I was on a headset the whole time, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And we got the call during the game, and I'm like, at first, the first thing I did was I talked to our kids, and I was telling them, you know, for sure we're just not cussing or anything. Because I'm like, well, maybe I missed it, but then we talked about it, and because they never said, we never got a report of what they said. We found out what was happening. We had a kid who he was going through some stuff and his last name had changed. So like, I mean, I can't tell the story without saying the name, but like, this kid's name was Philip and he had a different last name, but now he was going through his mom's name, that was Buck. And so his name, like that was his name. But he calls himself Phil, and then so the other commentators were calling him Phil, and they were doing the intro, and they were just smushing together his first and last name. And that's what.
Common mistake. And so to also watch your audio, to go with that one too, we a lot of times put a crowd mic for like crowd ambient noises. Be careful where you put the crowd mic, because we have some wonderful guys in basketball, they're passionate, but sometimes we've got a phone call from the crowd that said something and our mic has picked it up. And then they said, we don't think it's your announcers. We think it came from the crowd. We're like, yep, okay. We get that sometimes. Like, they've been very good, but like, watch your crowd mic sometimes.
There are people that just won't sit in front of us.
I was gonna ask, you said you did about like 60 to 70 events, which is a lot.
Yeah.
How do you prevent burnout in yourself and also in your students?
Well, so this year was the first year I did it. I'm not sure I like it. I helped design like our schedule posters, so I have all the raw data easily available. I made a Google Sheet showing every single event off the bat, because a lot of the problems I get is the kid will be like, here's the month schedule, and then the kid will be like, well, I have a work schedule. I'm like, this game has been on the books, you know, since August, and so I was like, well, here's the whole blooming thing. I think that was probably a bad decision. I'm probably not going to do it again. It looks overwhelming.
You do ours a semester at a time, and that's not too bad.
I tell them though, you just got to look at the schedule. Yes, there might be weeks that you do 2 or 3 games, but then like you might go 2 weeks without anything. So
you let them sign up, or do you assign?
We tried signing up. That was bad. They just wouldn't follow through. The problem is sometimes we have like 10 people, and depending on what you're doing, your stream might have room for 6. So then you're trying to juggle people. But the problem is if I only have 6 sign up, and then only 5 of them actually show up, and then I'm short, versus just telling them all the time. So, but like we do make sure we accommodate people who are in other events that we say, well, this kid's in wrestling, so he gets to do the boys game because he can't be there for the girl game. So, I don't have a good answer. Yeah.
I kind of jump in a little bit on that. Like my biggest payoff for my kids is going to state basketball, I think, and hype that up all year, and then, basically that's what I told my admin. Even if I'm not working, like this doesn't have to be everybody, but we're gonna go up and spend the whole day in Lincoln, and I'm gonna take them out to eat. You're gonna pay for it. But like kids love that, and then when they got their check from working, like they thought that was the coolest thing ever, and the kids that didn't go because they're like, well, I don't want to do that. Then they were jealous of that whole situation. So that's the last couple of years really helped with. This is why you're putting in the time to get that payoff. You can't pay you to show up to every game.
Let's piggyback off of that. I really agree. So our state tournament or our conference tournaments are also good too. So but if you can get a foot in the door conference wise, that helps too a lot.
So as part of your class, do you require students to work a certain number of events?
Yeah.
Okay. How many do you?
It's basically everything, unless they have a conflict.
I own you.
65, that's the number.
I do 10 for the first semester, and 8 for the second, based on how many kids and events we have.
But 60 is something be deceiving, because like that might be the JV varsity, girls varsity, boys varsity night. So the question I always hate is, how many games is it? Well, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be there the same amount of time because they split up a game. There might be 2 quarters of JV girls and 4 quarters of JV boys, and so it's 4 games. But 2 games could take longer than 4. I like to say you're going to be here from this time to this time. Take away the games, because 2 state games is a lot different than 2 varsity basketball games at home. Like your girls and boys doubleheaders are nothing like doing 2 quarterfinal games at state. That would probably take a lot more out of you.
I agree that the hardest time is getting help, but we have mobile serve for seniors have to have like 40 hours of community service, so they're able to use mobile serve and put service hours down, which helps me get some help here and there.
What other schools have not used mobile serve, but they have to require community service?
Yep, I get a lot of kids, I get some kids that have community service.
Now, the hard part is that we do excuse people if they have legitimate reasons. The biggest problem for me is if I think they're showing up, but they just don't show up. Which, depending on the group we had, sometimes the group does a good job of just helping pressure the kids to make sure they show up.
I have one more about equipment. The cameras that you use for your stream, do you use those to shoot commercials as well and other projects?
Yep. So that's part that I didn't really include here, because you can get the ones you shoot 4K 30 frames a second versus 60 or 120 frames a second slow-mo stuff, and there's a lot of that. But SD cards, if your camera's not shooting on SD cards, I'm not sure. Yeah, you might be getting into different things that you don't need to. Even if you're shooting for vertical content, I still say you should film horizontally, because then you can still put that on YouTube and then crop in a vertical for your social.
The one thing that's helped us is not having somebody run the clock. We actually put a camera on the clock and prop it into our scoreboard, so we don't have, because that's really a one-man operation, trying to run the clock for basketball and stuff.
When we're in our basketball gym, we have a bug that's automatic, but we need to know RCS for football. If we go to any away games, we need to know how to run that. So it's normally for the first volleyball game of the year, I try to make them all use it once. So.
My question, integrated score vision.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there an integration for?
Nope.
To Striv?
No, not yet. They're pretty proprietary right now.
So we have the 4 camera switcher, and then I've been using the Blackmagic box to run my 5th camera on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But my tech guy wants to give me a new computer that has USB-C, so I guess I need to talk to somebody about the configuration for trying to get that 5th camera in.
I don't know. That gentleman in the black polo.
Yeah, so if we've done it on the road too, or us and a second capture card, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
A second one? Yeah. And then, you could do some fancy stuff with Wirecast to make it look kind of cool. Like you can take the color away, you can try to chroma key it out, whatever.
This is my last question.
Yeah.
What is your favorite sport to live stream?
It depends on the circumstance. If you could do at least 3 cameras on volleyball, like on a 5-set match, but we don't see a lot of 5-set matches. Because nowadays we get a lot of triangular stuff, so it's all 3-set matches. Volleyball can be pretty awesome, but football, you have a ton of variety of what can happen. You have outdoor light, which makes it really interesting. So one of the advantages of these cameras is it's a lot easier to control our exposure, because going from a DSLR that I shoot photos on, or if you shoot video on there, that's super easy to change exposure because that's what they're made for, right? Well, video cameras are trying to make this easy for you on exposure, But then when it comes to like, as the sun's setting and your white balance is changing, all that stuff, that's a lot to change. The difference between the HF G40s or even the G70s versus this is that this is literally like one button and I'm already modifying that thing, modifying that field. Versus like on those cameras, you have to hit menu, then white balance, and then choose it. On ours, you can just hit white balance and then you can use a joystick to move it right away. So like football gives you the opportunity to be more creative on that. Basketball, you're never really changing exposure or white balance. You're setting it for it. But in terms of basketball, can be also really, it's simplified. You're set like, every gym is pretty much the same, right? It's the same length, the hoops are the same height. You know, like football has a lot more variety, so like that's good. But then when you get to basketball, I don't know, all of them are fun. I don't know. Probably football because you have more time to be unique on your broadcast.
And he can't say golf because he hasn't come to the York Golf invite yet. Cool. I have an online task for you all right now. If you wanted to go into FRE, our Future Ready Educators, in the streaming space, we have the open field. That is our open chat. We would love for you to share one thing that you took from Marcus's hour.
Just one.
Just one, because as you just saw, we could have Marcus up here for the rest of the day, but we do have a few things to get on with. And while you are in the open field, you will also see, you should see, that you have access to the Striv TV schools space in there as well.
If not, you should be able to, can you request?
You can request to be in that space?
No, you can't. So Danielle, Danielle will enable all of you who are not. Yep, Danielle will get you. Invite only.
I thought I had it also. It's really easy. You go from basketball to and then they can talk.
Appreciate you, Danielle.
Well, I was a little worried on time because every time I do it, the time would be really drastically different.
Now I've got one more year, so I was like,
Still says private space, yes.
Yep. I guess.
Passion,
Yeah.
some other
things,
so I can't keep them on all that, you know, so it's really
My worst thing is that my best drive kid is also one of our boy athletic managers. Like he wants to help with basketball and he's driving. So I convinced our basketball. He's also the other business teacher. I'm like, he's not our manager at one games. Like he is drive. He can do all our stuff on the weekends.
Is it just me?
I said
no.
What?
I don't want to be.
Well, I mean, there we have running kids a huddle film on the road.
He actually does our book. And almost every school now has focus, so like, but then remember he still brings sixth graders to film with an iPad. I'm like,
can we get everybody in the Striv TV space?
That's what we use all of our oldies for.
Our bus is so tight. One of our basketball games, they took the yellow bus and I think a different activity, the big bus, and they had 14 kids. They took the travel bus and we had, what, 50, 40, 50 people? Like
the stream
organization.
We don't have
Oh,
a
yeah.
problem. We have
That's
a
infrastructure.
When Jeremy gets back, we'll get started here so we can get you to lunch.
Oh, I should get on my app.
This-
Yeah, if you wanna order
Yeah,
ahead.
DoorDash. Yeah, this would be a good time to order, actually. DoorDash is available in York now. They've gone big time.
Eric, why do you know that?
Huh?
Why do you know that?
Well, actually, we did use, I guess we did use DoorDash when we, Jimmy John's will deliver, we found out they will deliver to an intersection close to the country club, here in York. And I put in the special instructions, look for our Striv van, can't miss it, it's on the intersection of the southwestern side of the golf course. By George, the guy pulled right up, he's like, "You're Striv, huh?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." Good following instructions, so he must have been a Striv kid, which is a little.
Well, yeah, because they don't go to Red Island Northwest because my kids always wanted to order when we were at track at Red Island Northwest. And they did so much that they had to go back. They cannot do that now.
Just a little outside the range, huh?
You can see the drone, but it doesn't got to call the challenge, so they could fly a drone in the golf case.
I've always done
They love it, REP love it. So one of our parents bought a really high-end drone because both his boys are in my class. And he owns the marina, and so they're using it this summer to do commercial days for the marina. And so I was their guinea pig. We gotta go fly it for a whole day. The golf course looked really crappy when it was really dry and had green out yet. The footage was cool, and I got some really cool pictures of like all my yearbook kids sitting on the side hill taking pictures of the golf course. It was kind of fun. I stay away, I'm like not mine, showing their gas, I'm like, oh, it's closed, it's thrown out. No.
Yeah, we had two of them.
That was like a long conversation.
All right, now that Jeremy's back, we'll have yeah, I was just waiting on you. One thing that I've done with Striv over the last 8 years, going into my 9th year now, is, as Travis was talking about, our state productions. And it is kind of amazing to think back, like in fall of 2015, we did, in conjunction with that 4-letter word, NFHS, Rob, we did the semifinal broadcast of state volleyball. On the 2 courts at PBA, and then that same night we were doing semifinal football for 11-man, and so we were sending crews different places, and then we'd have another set of crews that would go on Monday for the 8-man, and I got all of that information on one Google sheet. Who was going to go where, who was the contact, all of that was one Google sheet. Fast forward to this year, we produced every single game of state volleyball that wasn't on NET, which was the first round, second round, and the third place games. We did every single game of state softball in Hastings. We did 12 of the 14 semifinal football games. We did 48 state basketball games. We did the diving finals, and we did 6 straight days of state soccer in Omaha. Shout out Hoosier for going to Omaha for 6 straight days. And then we did 2 days worth of track. And so as those productions have evolved, my spreadsheets have grown exponentially. Some of you, I've shared those with you because we've signed kids up for different things. And so you've seen kind of how I was working to schedule those things out. It's kind of awesome that we sort of ended Marcus's talk with scheduling different stuff, because about December we came across an app called Notion. Has anybody used Notion for anything yet? It's a really cool. It's like Google Sheets and Google Docs on steroids. So if you are in FRE in the Striv TV space, you should see, because hopefully Danielle did post it, there is a way that you can create a free education account. And then there is, you can actually access the template that we're going to talk about. So the ultimate event planner is actually the production event planner. So we called it the PEP. And so that's what we named it there at the bottom. And so it's really trying to, for me, I had a spreadsheet that was just crew people. And then I had another spreadsheet that was equipment that we were gonna take for the different productions. And what equipment went to what field in softball and what was different. What did we need to get to whatever crew that was going to Norfolk for a football game. So I had another equipment sheet, and then I had another finances sheet, and then I had another sheet that was just analytics. And finally, as we started playing around with Notion for some of our team meeting stuff, it was like, man, this is really fun. Notion, you can do just about anything in. You can make tables, you can do just text, you can link other things to itself, and I'm like, well, that's a lot like Sheets. But then we discovered you can make that same sheet appear in 2 different places, and Jordan got real excited about that because they combine, and you can edit on one page, and it will also edit in the other place too. So,
is everyone following Eric?
It was all over the place. Here, there.
We're nerds.
So yeah, very, very nerdy. And so that's what I tried to do was, I was like, well, can I get all 4 of my spreadsheets that I literally have open 8, 9, 10 months of the year, and can I condense them into one Notion template that has each event listed out? And so that's kind of what I did. As I was going through this to create something for schools, I kind of wanted to try to think about some of the issues that it was solving for me and some of the issues that might help you guys solve. So organization, when Marcus is talking about who is doing what on what stream, on what date, you'll see here in a little bit, there's a way that we can create an event for every day of streaming. So when Marcus is talking, or you guys are talking about 3 different basketball games on a given day, well, our home basketball against Alma tonight has a JV girls, a JV boys, varsity girls, varsity boys. Here's who's going to do what on what stream. Here's what time. Here's the call time. Here's the schedule that you can create for them and say you need to show up at this time. This is the jobs. This is the tasks. You can assign kids their own tasks. It's a lot of fun. So the organization part was a big piece of this, and once you have it set the way you want it, you'll find, I hope, that it really cuts down on some time. Because time management is also something you guys are always looking for, right? There's never enough hours in any day for any one job, let alone the 18 that you have to do as a teacher. So if, like I said, once you have this kind of fine-tuned the way you need it for your particular setup, this could save you a lot of time. Task delegation, like I said, you can have students on their education emails sign up for Notion as well, and you can assign the kids their own task. Now they'll get a notification. You can actually use Notion also has a mobile app, so they'll get a push notification when they've been assigned to something. Really fun. Data analytics is also layered into this, so you can keep track of stream analytics for each night. Check in your dashboard, input everything there. You can see averages, you can see totals, you can see your highest events. And then it also helps with communication. Somebody says they were going to show up 3 weeks ago, they forgot about it, nobody told them, they didn't know what to do. Well, here's the communication because it's been right here. We can tag someone in any texting that you're doing. You can actually tag them, they'll get that notification. You've been tagged here, open the app and see exactly what the message is. So
you could message in here without using their phones?
It's not great as a messaging system. It's more of a as a notification system, it's not bad. I don't know that you'd want to, it's not like Slack or texting even, where you probably want a lot of back and forth, but it can notify them. You can try it.
Does it integrate with Slack?
Probably. I mean, Notion itself is massively huge, so I fully would expect it probably does.
And we embed our Google Sheets usually in Schoology because that's our LMS. So
Okay.
that would be something we
Possibly, yeah.
would like to look at.
So this is again kind of the 3 steps that we wanted to have within this planner was the organization and the checklist of what's going to happen for the stream. What time do we need to show up? What time is the stream going to start? What time is it going to end? How many games am I doing? How many ice cream cones can I eat for this particular event? What type of checklists are easy to put in here? Are we checking out certain kinds of cameras? Some of you, Rob's got a whole cabinet full of G50 video cameras. Well, which cameras are we taking? I love the way York names the different tripods and cameras and all the pieces. Everything has a name. You can create your roster of the things that you need to take for that particular game. And the numbers, the analytics, they do not currently tie to your dashboard. That would hopefully be something that we could figure out at some point. But again, you could take a dashboard view and this Notion tab and look at it real quick, input everything. Organizing your broadcast, and you guys will see here in a minute, we'll show you how to create an event. But organizing everything into an event. So on Tuesday night, here's the 3 basketball games, and next Friday, here's a concert. Every event has its own space, if you will. Assigning tasks, we talked about that. Share your streaming essentials. Sometimes you will need different audio setups for different events because the concert requires different microphones versus the basketball game that is the next night. So just making sure that everything is accounted for. You can get ahead of that and plan that out ahead of time. And then the viewership data as well. So this QR code will take you to the same place that we actually just posted. And I want to change my settings here real quick so that you guys can actually see this. So this is the production event planner, and what you guys should see
Should put it on light mode.
I'll turn on
light mode. You gotta remind me where that is.
Those 3 dots.
I did.
Oh, okay. No, go to the side menu on the left, your top left. Go to settings and members.
Everyone see that though, or do you guys want to go
Then
white
go to
background? That'd be helpful.
notifications and settings.
Sometimes on a projector, going white.
And then do appearance and then to light. There you go.
There we go. Okay, now that we can see everything. So I'll give you the kind of the quick overview. Up here at the top is where our events will populate. And you'll see that once we get one created, it'll look a lot nicer. But you'll have a quick overview of your gallery and different views actually. So you'll have a gallery view where you can find a little bigger way to click on each thing. Our board view is just going to be a list. That's going to be very spreadsheet-like. Here's the list of all of the different streaming events that we're planning on doing. Our weekly tasks, it is set up that as you create tasks within each event, the tasks due for that week, which we have set up from Monday morning to Saturday night, that's this week. So it's not, as we get to Thursday, it doesn't wrap around to next Tuesdays. It just goes through this Saturday sort of thing. But all of the tasks that are due and who they would be assigned to and when they would be due would all populate over here on the right side. And then you would have a kind of a master calendar where again, all of your tasks would be on here, and you can make this calendar view, or you can make the tasks as detailed as you want, or you can leave them as high level as we have home basketball against Axtell tonight on Tuesday, and we play Alma on Friday. They're both home games. Down here at the bottom then is where you would track your analytics, and again, very spreadsheet-like, but it's super easy to add in from your events. You're going to get a template down here and just add in your text of. We had more than that. And we're going to have a few more than that. We're going to have another 1,200 people on demand, and at least 435 people watching over the top. So you real quick, you would see that would just be like a spreadsheet. The nice thing is we kind of look at this, am looking at this as this is kind of your dashboard for your streaming setup. It can be all sorts of equipment, the schedule and everything. So let's create an event. And so we've got this template. Since Marcus is up front here, we're going to play Marcus in some basketball. So we're going to give our due date of when this event is happening. We can change our location. And we don't need to change the progress, and we don't want to archive it yet because we want it to stay there. At the top of the event, we can give it a project overview. This is especially handy if you are a school that is doing a hype video or wrap-up videos, stuff like that. What all is involved with this event? And again, I was kind of coming at this from a state event, so we needed to know that we are streaming the quarterfinals on NFHS. We are doing a wrap-up video for social media.
Don't say bad words like that.
I know. Here I am cussing in front of all you.
NFHS, don't say bad words like that.
I know. And we have to, we're streaming the championship press conferences. So all of that, everything that we're doing within this project is going to be here. So we're going to stream JV boys, varsity girls, and the varsity boys basketball games. Within the tasks then, the first task is going to be pack equipment. And since our game is tomorrow, that's going to be due today. And that's going to have to be Hoosier. So now Hoosier's got a job, right? Edit our photos. We're going to do that on the 6th. That's going to be Taylor's job this week. You could assign multiple people too. So Danielle's probably going to have to help with that. And then we're going to upload the recording. And that's going to be due the day after. I'll take care of that one. So real easy, 3 quick tasks, and you can see also they've populated behind here on my weekly tasks because everything is due this week. And so real quick, I can see what the task is, when is it due, and what project it's tied to. So when you get multiple projects, they can be real handy as to what's due when. So now I can come back into, once I have my list of tasks, I can come back into my schedule overview. So this is going to give our crew the expectation of really their time commitment for this particular event. So our setup time is going to have to be 3:30 because we're going to start right after school, and we're going to assign that to Hoosier again. This one actually, yeah, we can assign that to Hoosier. Call time in the broadcasting world, call time is when the crew, no matter what their job is, no matter what their task is, what else they have done that day, call time is when is the production meeting. That is kind of the end all be all. We need to be at the location, ready for final instructions at what time. So if we're going to go live at 4:15, we better have a call time of 4 p.m. And this again, so that everyone got the notification, everyone associated with this particular event could get tagged in this one. Our stream will start at 4:15, and it will end when it ends, right? So somewhere around 9:30 or so. So that's the real quick schedule overview. Again, you're not really necessarily getting into details, although you sure can. You might want to add a second thing in there. We're going to do the Sertoma 8-man football all-star game here in a couple of weeks. So we'll have call time, and then we'll also have dinner. So we'll actually probably put dinner ahead of the call time so we can all eat together, and then we'll have call time to, here's our production meeting, stuff like that. So down here is our crew, and again, this is all going to be very customizable for what you guys need. Some of you are going to have 3 people involved in a production. Sometimes you're going to have 6 or 10. I think the most we've had for state basketball this year, we had 9 spots available for every job that was going on. And so I listed I tried to go big as far as what types of jobs you would need. But again, here would be your, for what events. So here's our JV girls game. Here is our JV boys game. Here's our varsity girls. And then we need another one, so we're just gonna click right below it and add varsity boys. So who is doing play-by-play, color, and all of that. We don't need play-by-play on these. Who's running Wirecast? Oh, this is gonna be Marcus. Who's gonna technical direct? That's gonna be Hoosier again, he's got a lot of jobs. Olivia's gonna run replay. Jordan's on the main cam. And then you can see that it just keeps on going over here. I'll run ISO. Danielle likes the floor cam. And Taylor can manage. Now the cool thing is, if your crew doesn't need to change throughout, well, Marcus can run Wirecast all night. Oops. And Hoosier can direct all night.
Is there a way to black out ones? Say, like, for a concert, we have, you know.
Right, so let's say you don't have replay. Let's just get rid of it.
But does it delete it for just this event, but then when we
Just this
create a
event.
new
So,
it'll come back?
so the template, when you guys download your template, or duplicate your template, it'll have all of this available for every time you hit an event. So every time you hit an event, you can customize exactly what's up here. So you might just have Wirecast, main cam, and one announcer. That might be the only thing you guys ever do.
So can we edit the template we copied?
Once you've downloaded your template, you can edit your template. Yep.
Did you tag everyone, like, assign at everyone?
I think you have to at everyone individually. I don't think
Yeah, I
there's a
don't
group
think-
at that we've discovered.
That's a Hoosier question.
That's a Discord thing.
We'll look that up. I don't think, is there a shortcut to tagging everybody?
I think he's doing it right
He's,
now.
he's gonna look, he's gonna check. Oh, look at this, it's happening. He's in it.
Yeah, you can see him where he's at on the page too. Doing
So, you said there's an app?
The Notion app.
Yep.
Does that give kids notifications like,
Yeah, I just got
don't
notification.
oversleep, you gotta work tonight at whatever?
So the
Whatever you tag them in.
Yeah,
is
the
what-
notification they get is when they are tagged. So like, as Eric's been tagged,
No, I'm saying
my
like
phone
if I
is
create
blowing
the
up.
schedule and they sign up on Monday, I'm gonna work Saturday at this softball game.
Yeah.
And at 8 a.m. they're supposed to be there. Does it tell them?
I believe there is. You can.
Can you schedule it?
That would be
Schedule it,
catchy if
yeah.
I could have it remind
Yeah.
kids.
We're still learning how to this app.
Ask
is
me all the questions and let me find them out over lunch.
Right. Yeah, that would be a great thing, actually.
Very
You can
dynamic.
ask those questions in the thread in FRE of the of where you've downloaded.
Will you be
your-
putting some like videos out on like, here's how to edit your template, here's how to,
We have a lot of videos to do.
because I see the benefit, I really like it.
Yeah. The equipment needed, super easy to add in your checklist. Just type and enter, right? We need the HDMI. You might need something special for this, so you might need your shotgun mic. And the XLR cable, stuff like that. So real quick, you can create this equipment list. And again, if you have, depending on your number of kids, you might have some kid that their job is to fill out the basic stuff for the events. That might be their job, is actually filling out the equipment list, because it might change from event to event, right? So you might need that. That could be its own thing. And then run sheets that I've got down here. Does this link, Hooch, did you take my link out?
I didn't touch your link.
Well, it's not there. Well, there will be. There's a link there that will give you in the Ultimate Environment, actually to a Google Sheet, and it's a run sheet that we created. How we kind of do, thank you, attaboy. That takes you to, and the ability to make a copy. Once you've made your copy, then you can put your own link back in. But this is the run sheet that we have created for our events. This is morphed over the years, and it's got a kind of a nudge here during state basketball. As we've added more advertisers, we needed a place, we needed a way for the director, the Wirecast person, and the announcers to all know how often do we need to take those commercial breaks. It kind of piggybacks off the crew communication that Marcus was talking about. When are we taking that commercial break? Well, here's an example of starting with our Striv opener video, but then here are the 5 graphics basically, or the 4 graphics, and the 5 different shots that we're using just in the opening 3 minutes before the game starts, before we're ready for action. We're going to come back, we're going to take a commercial break inside of that, and then we're going to have more graphics with our keys to the game, the home matchups, stuff like that.
For your 26 kids.
Oh, no, this is, yeah.
We always talked about, like, you get done with the first game, after the games, and it's like, man, I said,
Eric, can you go back to the Notion page?
just have a full crew.
Maybe you said this already, but I can duplicate this event, right? So I don't have to create all the checklists and everything.
Yep. So once you have one in, actually, you want to make this look really cool. This is where it starts to get really engaging. You can add a cover photo to an event.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could put the opposing school's logo. You can.
From that folder that we all have downloaded and put in Google Drive somewhere. Multiple times.
Yes. You can go Victorian art.
And then I share
You
it
can
with
use,
my
Unsplash. You can use.
You can use Taylor's uploaded photos to Flash.
Right, type in Henderson.
Or was it Harvest, or what was it?
Heartland.
It might be hard to find.
What about someone, just have a school
Yeah, big database.
It is, you can type in basketball, if you can spell it right.
This one. I like the.
So there's our basketball one, and then what is also fun is you can add an icon. And you could actually, if you had a picture that was 280 by 280.
Is that what your logos are?
Yeah.
They sure are.
Yeah, that'll work.
Let's say we're playing South Sioux City tonight. So now we're playing basketball against South Sioux City, and again, when you come back to your main screen, imagine a whole row of events, and it's got fun icons.
Can you duplicate events? So you just have to make all this stuff one time.
So every time you hover over here, I don't know if you can see it from there, but you click new, it gives you the original template again. So that's why we'll have a little more instruction on how you can edit your own template once you've downloaded it.
I'll take it for 70 driving.
Right.
So yeah, that's my thing, like, I'm also the yearbook sponsor, so like, can I have one that says like video production and one that says yearbook? So I get all the events in and then I can duplicate it.
Yeah, I was thinking
probably.
And then all the events are there, I just gotta go in and
change the checklist of the names.
Eric, did you delete
Oh, I don't know, my yearbook and my, I take the principals went out last year and I duplicated it. And that was my streaming and my yearbook, because we cover all the same events. We do junior high, we do all of it, we suck, we're stupid.
What do you got?
You know, junior high has been and parents can't, employers would rather the parents watch the game than go to the game. I will get like.
Oh yeah, here's the calendar view with all of the tasks. So I can see the project who it's assigned to, and I can also mark it done. And once it's marked done, then it goes away from our calendar. It also marks it that Taylor has got his photos edited because it's got a checkbox there.
So you're a student.
So it went away and, oh, he didn't get it done, so now that it pops back down here too.
So the students can't check them, only you can?
It depends how you set it up. If you set it up and you let all of them create their own Notion account, which will be free, then they can do editing. If you say, but you can also just make it viewable. Essentially what it is right now is just viewable. You can see this, what the link that you have in FRE is, you can view things, but you can't edit things until you make your own copy.
But they'll still get the notifications without having an account?
If they don't have an account, they won't get the notifications. So
If
there's.
I get the notifications, they can edit stuff.
But you can limit.
I think you can limit what they can edit.
Their permissions.
I sometimes get some very
No, I
ingenuitive students that like go in and check all of the different off or like move stuff around.
Right. Well, and then you would find out,
Like when I click
or
on
they would find out real quick, oh, this was checked off and it wasn't actually done, and now the whole production suffered because you thought you were being smart. And now we can shame them into acting correctly. That's
Easy for us to say, we're not the classroom.
They walk in your house. I am only here because there is absolutely.
So there is more to come with the PEP, but yeah, pretty excited about this.
I was thinking that it was still two computers, one machine.
Jeremy, do you want lights dimmed or?
Maybe, I'm gonna have a couple little video clips.
Free actually, and as long as they don't all go up at the same time, we've not also.
And that's why I haven't done the two Windows print views of like, I don't want to mess with the two computers thing yet and have kids try to do one, so one's up to do one, so like.
Yeah, I have two screening computers that do our.
All right, we'll get started, guys. Jeremy Moore's up next.
And it's like, if we're not, you just won't be stressed. You're just getting stressed.
We did, and it's been one of my.
So, my name's Jeremy Bohr, I'm from Sandy Creek. Sandy Creek, just south and west of here a little bit. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about our career pathway program and specifically about how I've taken my digital media classes and turn it into an actual business, a digital media business that we run out of the school called 74 Creative. We came up with that name, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but 74 is the highway that runs past our school. We're out in the middle of the country, so that was a landmark and we wanted to make it something that wasn't like specific to Sandy Creek, so that's where that comes from. So I'm going to talk to you today just about kind of how we built that, how it fits into our school a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of go back and forth and show you a lot of projects that my kids have done as well, so kind of see what we're about. So I'm going to talk about myself a little bit, talk about who I work with in the school, talk about our career pathway program, and then about how 74 Creative fits into that. So to start out with, just about me really quick, I've been at Sandy Creek for 20 years now, seems like 40 years maybe. No, actually this has been pretty good. But I started out as a social studies teacher, so I put that disclaimer at the bottom, like I was a social studies teacher for like my first 10 years or something, and this was just something I got thrown at me and have built it over the last 10 years or 11 years or so. So I have no training in this, I've taken no college classes for this, I have no experience other than what we've kind of done and what we've learned for ourselves. And I say that to tell you like that anybody can do it then if I'm capable of that, because when I graduated from college, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that I would have been doing this, I would have laughed at you and said, I'm going to teach middle school social studies. And I will never teach middle school social studies again, I will tell you that. This is so much better. This is so much better. I better knock on wood, because
is it, who knows? They didn't tell me to do that tomorrow. But currently I have lots of different jobs. My favorite one is digital media instructor, also Striv, and I do the 74 Creative, kind of what I'm going to talk about today. So that is my family up there. Like Rob, I made a terrible mistake and got a dog a year ago, and we love him. So I'm told anyway. I got outvoted on that. But who's up at 6 o'clock every morning when he's barking to go out? So I told you I'd show you some work. We do a lot of graphic stuff as well. So this is a poster that one of my students, a junior, going to be a senior, made this poster for our documentary that we're finishing up. We thought it would get done during the school year, and it just didn't. We bit off a lot more than what we could chew in the school year. We thought that it would be quite an easy process, and we just had to film all this stuff and make this 6-part documentary, and we'd be done with it in like a week or two, and found out that several months later we're still working on it. But I have kids at school right now actually that are working on it, or that they're probably gone by now, but they came out this morning and they've been just chugging away a few hours a day in the summer just to get it done. But this is the movie poster that we came out with, and a kid named Mason Hendricks made that. That took a lot of work, just finding the pictures that he wanted to use and editing this. Our team, myself is the digital media person. Nanette Shackelford is our business teacher. She's the business person on this, helps make sure that we're actually making money instead of losing money, and also helps with some marketing and things that we do with other clients. And then Spencer Shove is a former student of mine at Sandy Creek. Now he is our one of our shop teachers, and he does the manufacturing stuff. So part of our business is not just the digital media stuff, but we also do a lot of precision machining and things like that. So Spencer, that's a whole other branch of 74 Creative I'm not going to really get into today. But Spencer does a lot with laser engraving. Spencer does a lot with CNC manufacturing. I'll tell one quick story about what he does. We had a kid whose dad was a farmer and had like 10 pivots, and every spring his job was to go to each of those pivots all around Clay County and take the little plastic ring that was in there that told the end gun to stop so it didn't spray on the road, and take that out because it was broken or warped or worn out after a year, and put a new one in. And it involved taking a ladder out there. It was just a lot of work that he hated to do. So he figured out how to make those on the CNC router that we have, and then he makes them out of steel, and then he doesn't have to change them every year. He changed them one time. And then he figured, I bet people would buy those. And so he talked to the pivot company out of Hastings that they were using, which I won't say which one, but they told him, no, we like the plastic ones because they'd have to come back and buy them every year, and then they can sell them other stuff. And so he just made them himself and sold them to farmers all around, and actually made some money on that. So that's a cool project that some of Spencer's kids do, but that's the kind of stuff they do in the manufacturing side. So 74 Creative that I'm going to talk to you today is going to be the digital media side, but I'll explain kind of how we're set up here. These are my students. These are probably my three, not probably, these are the 3 top students that I have. Hudson is a sophomore. When I say a sophomore, he's going to be a junior. He's a sophomore who really took off this year, and it films a ton of stuff. He's more involved in sports, so some of the sports stuff we do, Hudson doesn't get to be involved in because he's playing. Hudson shows up a lot in our videos, even if he doesn't play, because all our other kids like him, so Hudson's always on camera, it seems like. Mason, we call him our creative director. Mason is very much involved in every single thing that we do. Every example I'm going to show you today has Mason's fingerprints on it. If you know Mason, I'm sorry. He's wonderful, but he's Mason. He's a lot.
Josh knows Mason. Oh,
yeah, Josh and Mason bonded at state basketball, right?
That's right.
You were on a headset with him all day.
State tournament last year.
Awesome. That's my life every day.
God bless you.
He shows up at my house randomly. My kids are like, "Oh, Mason's here." My 2-year-old runs to the door, lets him in. So Mason, but he's just super talented and passionate about this stuff. So I'll talk about him. And then Connor Peters just graduated, and Connor, as a freshman, struggled in school, had to do summer school, all that kind of stuff. As a sophomore, struggled in school and kind of wasn't doing well. And then as a junior, he came into this and really liked it. And then as a senior, now he's going to college to do this kind of stuff as well, the digital media stuff. So Connor's been an awesome kid and an awesome addition to this, and really seeing how it turned his like high school career around from his freshman year, where he's kind of wandering around aimlessly, to having a focus and a goal and what he wanted to do. And Connor, everything you see on here, Connor probably has his fingerprints on as well. So this is, I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to show you, I have lots of stuff linked in here. I'm not going to show you everything, but this video, this story I was telling Rob this earlier, we work with Keller Williams Heartland. We work with Katie Vanderlei out of Sutton a lot and do different promotional things for her videos and graphics that she has us do. And she called me, this is 2 Tuesdays ago, called me on Tuesday night at like 9 o'clock and said, hey, I got this really good opportunity for you. I need a video made. Awesome, Katie, we have plenty of time this summer. That'd be awesome. What's it for? And she goes, well, the new theater is opening in Hastings, and they have one local ad that you can buy for every movie. And so I bought it for every movie for the whole year. So I'm like, so we're going to make a video that'll play in front of every movie in Hastings on the big screen. I'm like, that's pretty cool. She goes, well, I need it by Friday morning. And I was like, now I'm not so excited. But we made it. And this is a great example of you have a vision in a time frame, and then you have what's reality and what the customer likes. So this was not our video. I like this video. I think it's fine. But this was, if I had a month and my own ideas to do this with, I probably wouldn't have made this video with the kids. But we had two and a half days, and this is what Katie wanted. This is what will be playing in the movie theater. There's supposed to be sound. She's talking. But basically, she wanted us to just go to every town and film. I don't know where the volume was at. There's the volume.
Your need.
Anyway, the internet's not going to cooperate either. But
We service residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural real estate. Please.
So I'll stop it right there. We filmed that. She had her script that she wanted to read, so we drove over to Sutton and filmed Katie. Or she didn't want her face on it. That was the other thing. It was like, Katie, they want to see you. She didn't want to. So my kids are learning lessons about like clients and what they want is more important than what you think is better. Like you got to make it what they want. But Katie did the voiceover for us in her office. We recorded it. Went back, edited it. Then we drove a loop from York all the way to Red Cloud and back to get all the towns that she wanted us to. That was on Thursday. And then Friday morning she calls, so that voiceover, I didn't like it. So we drove back to Sutton. She changed one word in the voiceover. She added one word. I'm not going to tell you which one because it wouldn't have mattered, but that's the word she had to have in there. So we did that, and then she's like, oh, and you forgot to do McCool Junction and Junietta. I was like, they weren't on the list that you sent me. She goes, well, I need McCool Junction and Junietta. So Mason was with me, and Connor drove to Junietta, and I drove to McCool Junction, and we filmed and made this video. It'll play in front of everything, and she paid us for it. It was awesome. But that's the kind of stuff that we get to do. Long story short, we get to work with clients and learn. I had to put this on here. Taylor's paying me to be here today. But Taylor's been a big part of our success, and over the years, Striv has been a big part of our success. We've sent tons of kids to work with people at Striv since way back. And been a big part of me getting this program where it needs to be. So really appreciate all of that. Here's another example of some stuff that we made. This was a graphic for a homecoming football game. Mason put most of the work into that one as well. I helped him with a few little details, but we made that in Photoshop. Had a fun time doing it. Saw an example online that looked similar to that a college had done, and we thought we could make that our own, and we did. So that was probably one of the favorite graphics that we made this year. So every game we sold graphics sponsorships, and so this one didn't get paid for by anybody, so we put our own logo on it. But if they paid for it, they got the logo or the graphic that we made advertising the game got put up on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram in the morning, linked their business and thanked their business and gave them a shout out on there for it as well, and put their logo on the graphic. So nobody bought the homecoming game for some reason, but we made a little bit of money off of that, and but we had graphics for every game, and people really liked that kind of stuff. So to talk about kind of what I came here to talk about today, our Career Pathways program is kind of where we got the idea for for what we're doing here in 74 Creative. At Sandy Creek, that's our new high school we built a few years ago. At Sandy Creek, every single junior and senior gets a business mentor in an area of their choosing. They get to pick where they go. So some kids will pick the same career path for the 4 semesters in a row. Some kids will switch every semester or whatever they do. But every junior and senior gets to work with a business mentor, and we work really hard. My wife's in charge of that. To give her a shout out, but she works really hard to make sure the kids get not only just a business mentor, but a really quality person that they get to work with. So for example, Mason, this year in the fall, he mentored with Dante Bullhauer Media in Hastings, and got to do a bunch of things with Dante. And then in the spring, he mentored with Nebraska Public Media and was able to run a camera for the entire boys state championships in Lincoln. And he showed up, thought he was just going to kind of get us be in the truck and walk around. And they're like, "What do you think about running that camera?" And so at 8:30 in the morning, Mason is texting me. I was in Texas because it was spring break, and he was texting me, "You got to turn it on. I'm going to be on camera." He was the #2 camera guy that day for Nebraska Public Media the whole day. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
Because I think Eric needed him for 3rd place games or whatever, and he bailed on you, but
whatever.
So he was pretty excited. So that's the kind of opportunities we are giving our students. But we have kids we had a kid that wants to be a pilot, and he got to fly to Texas twice during his school day. That was his mentorship. He drove to Hastings, got on an airplane, they flew to Texas, picked somebody up, flew back, and he did it a couple weeks later. So we try to find them something that they're interested in, and that we can get them a really good experience in. So the goal is either they find out, yeah, this is what I want to do, or no, I better try something else. And so that was what they do. They get a minimum of 12 hours with their mentor. And then the guiding principles are super important with NCAPS because it transfers over to 74 Creative. So what we're looking at with our career pathways is we want them to be profession-based learning. We want it to be responsive so that it can change when industry changes, when things change, job markets change, so that we're making sure not only are they getting something that they care about, but something that's going to be a paying job for them someday. Self-discovery, professional skills, that's probably a big one that I focus on is professional skills, making sure they know on the video side what it looks like to do professional work. And then the entrepreneurial mindset is huge because that's what we are at 74 Creative. It's an entrepreneurial thing with our students. And so the NCAPS kind of fits in with that. We work a lot with Metal Quest. He's Scott Volk, if any of you know in the manufacturing world. Scott Volk runs Metal Quest Unlimited in Hebron, just outside of Hebron. We've partnered with him on the manufacturing side and actually run parts for Metal Quest on several occasions where they run parts for people, and if they need laser engraved, they don't have any laser engraving machines, so they'll make the parts. They sent us, the last ones we did were some aluminum casings for a company out of Vermont that needed them for GPS systems, and so they would machine the part out of the aluminum, send it over to us. We would laser engrave on there, send it back. They would check them all to make sure they were within the standards, to make sure they were okay, and then we got paid by that company out of Vermont for it. So the kids got to work on some pretty cool stuff, and with Scott Volk and his team over there at Metal Quest, been a good partner for us as well. Okay, this video, I'll show you. This is a Mason and Hudson special right here. We made the football playoffs this year for the first time in 11 years. We had a lot of stuff that we got to do exciting for football, and this was their intro video that played that morning before the football game against Stapleton. It's really cool if it goes the whole way through.
Probably the Wi-Fi.
It is. It's not a big deal. We'll give it one more shot here. Well, I'm not going to waste your time with all of it, but it's just a highlights from the season and talks about the playoffs and student made, and that's the cool thing. And the kids, our coaches are really cool about this. They love that we do this and do this for their team. We do, and one of the big things with 74 Creative is that we do that for all of our teams. The girls volleyball team gets the same as the boys football team. If you make the playoffs or whatever, you get extra stuff, obviously, because you get more games. But during the regular season, if we make a football video, we're making a volleyball video. If we make a wrestling video, we're making a basketball video. All of those types of things. So 74 Creative, to talk about this, and this is the main part. It started in 2018, called 74 Studios. We had a really amazing graphic arts teacher back then who had 3 students that wanted to do graphic arts work and get paid for it. And so she thought, man, we do end caps, this would be perfect. So these kids' project for end caps that semester was to start their own business, and they called it 74 Studios. And then I started thinking, like, if they're gonna do that, I got some kids that would love to just piggyback into that with the video side of things. And then that art teacher left to go to a different school. I blocked her on my phone, don't talk to her anymore. And after that, then I was like, now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this without our graphic arts teacher. And 2 of those girls were seniors. Oh man, it wasn't kind of how it was planned. So 2019, not a lot happened with it. 2020, we started actually getting going, and then COVID hit. And then during COVID, I recruited a couple other of those teachers that I showed you, Nanette and Spencer, and thought, this is something we can do. And we kind of shifted gears away from just straight on the graphics and video and wanted to add some other people in. And the reason we did that was because of the people we had. Like, I picked Spencer because I knew he was good in the shop and was doing things that were career-based and that we could make money on and give the kids that opportunity. And then I knew we needed Nanette on the business side of things, because Spencer and I would be terrible with the money. And then she would also help with the marketing and that kind of stuff. So it was just looking at our strengths that we had. We came up during that time in COVID, we met on Zoom quite often and did a bunch of things, but we came up with our 6 values that we wanted to really push, and these are huge. If you talk to our kids, this is what they understand. And so passion is the first one we talked about. Like, if we're gonna make this student-run business work, then we have to be like super passionate about it, or the kids aren't gonna be super passionate about it. So like, passion was huge because we wanted to make sure the kids understood how cool this opportunity was gonna be, and we had to make sure that the kids really wanted to be involved in it, and if they see us excited and really loving it. And then that led us to ownership. Again, if it's gonna be a student-led business, yeah, we're kind of planning it here in COVID with each other, with no kids involved. But if it's gonna be a student-led business, like, we had to turn that over to the kids, and that was really hard for us to be able to do. I think all of us in the room probably would have a hard time doing that, because we're teachers and we're paid to like do that work. And stepping back and letting the kids do it and have their own ideas has been really liberating, really awesome, because I have the right kids as well, so that's part of the trick. Responsiveness, that goes back to the NCAPS thing. We knew that this had to be able to change when things change. Like, what got us in trouble the first go around was when the art teacher left, the whole thing fell apart. And I'm like, if I leave, Spencer leaves, whoever, we just got to be able to keep rolling and have students that are involved and ready to go. So the responsiveness part was really big. And so we're making sure that everybody's involved in on this. And having a purpose, which was back on this page, our main purpose. Oh wait, it might be on the next page. But our purpose is to provide services for our community, clients in our community that don't otherwise exist. So that's kind of another reason that we chose the digital media side. We have nobody in the Sandy Creek community that's making videos or graphics for people. We have no precision machine shops in the Sandy Creek area. We have nobody that's doing social media marketing in the Sandy Creek area. Trying to give our businesses something that doesn't exist. We didn't want to compete with somebody and hurt a business in town by doing something that they already do. We didn't think that would go over very well when we're asking these people to support us. And entrepreneurship we talked about as well. And then the one I love and that I really focus on is the real world skills. I want my students, if they're working for me in video doing that, they can take that to career. They can take that into a career, and I'll give you some examples of that. But I want them to be able to leave Sandy Creek and be able to make money on their own doing these things. So those are the huge value of what we do. So I'm not going to try to play the video at this point, but this one is, we don't just do sports stuff. We talk about promo videos, and Rob, this one's long, but this was our drama program did their musical this year, and it was the Seussical Junior musical. And so the week the play was going to be on Friday and Saturday. So every day of the week of that play, we had a different promotional video with one or two main cast members talking about their part and why you should come see it. And we filmed those. Mason was one of the leads in this, so he kind of didn't get to be a part of this. And so we filmed it. We went to one of their dress rehearsals that they'd had the weekend before. And so while they were rehearsing, we were grabbing kids backstage and filmed it so that you could hear them out on the stage. So the audio sounds a little goofy, but it's more so that you could feel like you were backstage in the play, and that's the idea they came up with. So we're interviewing these kids and just cut those up into little one and a half minute videos, just has the logo right at the start, and the kids talk and really tell you why they should come to the play. Then there's a clip of somebody singing one of the songs up on stage just in their shirt and shorts. You know, they're not dressed up, I guess, but trying to do that. So we did that every single day, Monday through Friday, the week of the play, and just trying to get people to remember that it's there, because Sandy Creek's probably like everybody else. Everybody knows when the football game is, everybody knows when the basketball game is, but sometimes the drama stuff gets left behind, and we didn't want that. So, goals of 74 Creative, what we are doing. First and foremost is to promote our school and programs. So Sandy Creek is probably our biggest client and the cheapest one because they don't pay us, right? But they're the reason we get to do this. But we promote everything in our school. We're pre-K through 12 all in one building. So we are trying to promote from preschool all the way through high school and everything that's going on there, so that people know about our school, people in the community know what we're doing and get a sense of what we're doing. So we're down in the elementary and the middle school filming quite a bit to just highlight some of the things that we're doing. And that's kind of one of the biggest goals that we have is to just really market our school to our own people and to outsiders as well. And then I talked about offering services to these local clients that don't otherwise exist, and so video production is a huge part of that. The bottom left, I'm huge on, I hate teaching from the book. We have to. They have to know the software. They have to know the hardware. But once they do, everything's projects. And real projects that have a purpose. Whether they're paid projects or not, it doesn't matter. But if it's something that's going to be seen on our video board, on our social media, going to be given to a client, going to play on TV, going to play on our client's social media, wherever it's going to be, but just not a generic project that doesn't have any meaning to my students. And so that's a huge one for me. And then career-ready students, I told you, I'd give you some examples. Right now I have students these are kids that are still in high school that have or are currently working and making money from Striv, Dante Bullhauer Media, the Hastings Sodbusters, Clay County News, and Nebraska Public Media. I have former students that one is the head of the University of Michigan. I mean, he works for, gosh darn it, a media company that contracts with the University of Michigan, but he's the head of the football video stuff at the University of Michigan. I have another one that works for NFL Films right now, and one more who I think has another year with the Huskers in Husker Vision. So we have kids that are doing this and making money off of it. The best story, and then I have those kids come back and talk to us. So the kid that's at Michigan, he talked to us through Zoom a couple months ago. And the best part of the story is that he said, yes, Coach Harbaugh is as weird as you think he is. I said, well, that's good. That's what I thought. But he loves it. He gets to do all the football stuff up there. So how our business works, how we structure things, it's just an extension of the NCAPS program. We open it to any students, so 6 through 12. I teach a middle school class as well, video production stuff and digital media things. So I let any students that have an interest in what we're doing can be a part of our team at some level, a camera operator or editing or whatever it might be. So we have kids all the way through middle school doing that stuff. We do have leadership positions. Those are selected by, at a school our size, it's usually pretty easy to see who your leaders are going to be, but that's selected through our advisor team, who those kids are going to be. And those kids in the leadership positions are the ones that kind of direct what we're doing. So those 3 kids that I showed you there, I might bring the projects to them. If it's an outside client, they're probably going to contact me as the sponsor of it rather than the student, but I'm the one who brings it to those kids. Students do get paid for their work outside of school hours, so that's a huge one for us, and that's a huge motivator for us. I have a wedding. I have to meet with a guy tonight who's getting married. Actually, I have to meet with him in Hastings because he wants us to do his wedding video for him. And so I'm going to go meet with him, figure out what he wants and how much it's going to cost. And then the students that work that film it will get paid. The students who edit that stuff will get paid out of that money. So if they do it during the school day, the only rule we have with 74 Creative is if we're working on that stuff during the school day, then good for you, you're donating your time, that's part of your education. If you're doing it outside of the school day, then you get paid for that. So kids are more than okay with that. They love doing that kind of stuff. So like the Keller Williams Heartland video, Mason will get paid for that. We just have to collect them. He'll get paid for that as well. We do a lot of manufacturing stuff in the summer as well that they can get paid for. So one of the big questions I always get is how do you do the money side of this? Our lawyer told us at school not to set up an LLC. It would be much easier to just run the money through school like your fundraising account for the football team, even though an LLC would probably fit better with what we were doing on the readiness side of things. The school didn't want us to do that. They wanted the money. And then we don't have to charge tax on anything or pay tax on anything, and it just makes it a lot easier. And then the students get paid out of that fund. So just the same as I would go into my football fundraising account and buy hoodies for the whole team, I go in there and just write a check for Mason or for Connor or whoever's working on this. It's basically the thing that I want to kind of stop now and talk about with this is that this is how we do it. We got some of these ideas from Arnold, Nebraska. If you know anything about Arnold, they did this graphic design and printing company out of their school. And Clay Moore was his name, and his wife, and I can't remember her name now, but they both retired now. But we've got with Clay in 2018, we drove out to Arnold and saw what they were doing. And we were like, holy smokes, we can't do any of that stuff. This is too crazy. But it sparked in us like, what can we do? So it's not like we didn't want to copy Arnold. We wanted to see how they did things and what fits our staff, what fits our school and our community. So that's kind of the big thing that we're looking at is like make this personal to yourself and to your students so that they get the best opportunity they can get out of that. And so there's opportunities that we talk about. The big opportunities, paying clients, right, so students can make some money. The business mentors. So outside of the end caps, not all of my students that are in my 74 Creative are mentoring in the digital media space. Now I've got kids that are mentoring at hospitals or mentoring in schools, they want to be teachers or different things. So I bring in different mentors from the outside for my kids, and maybe they don't go work with them, but maybe we Zoom with them, or they come in and visit with our class on occasion. So I've got a group of those people, and you can find those people all around that will do that. Like one of our best resources is Tori Duncan at the Clay County News in Sutton. He's the newspaper guy there, and he comes and talks to us about photography all the time, and just how he does things and what his workflow looks like. I have a sister-in-law who's a professional photographer. She'll Zoom with us from Omaha once or twice a semester to talk about Lightroom and how that software works and how she gets the best bang for her buck out of that. So finding these mentors for your students can be super helpful, and it helps you as a teacher too, because I'm sitting there taking notes when they're talking about what they're doing as well. And local businesses, and then probably the biggest thing though, one of the big things is the portfolio. If they do want to do this for a living, if this is what they want to go to college for, or they want to make a business for this, having that portfolio of stuff that they can say they created, I made this, I did this, I filmed this, I took that picture, whatever it might be, is huge for them. So making sure that they're putting it all together so when they graduate, they can take that away. It helps them with their opportunities down the line. And some kids, if they don't want to, pursue that, it's not a big, that's not as big a thing. One of the other things I talk about with my program is, so you might not want to do this for a living, you might not want to be a videographer, video production, or something like that. But if you own your own business, how valuable is it to be able to make your own content for your social media site? If you just know how, at least you have the skills to do that. Now you got to go out and buy the equipment and software, but you have the skills to do that. You don't have to pay somebody else to do all your content for you, because that gets pretty pricey. And then I'll finish up with a couple things here. So I just put some friendly advice. This is things that we learned the hard way, and maybe you wouldn't have to if this was something you wanted to do. First thing is identify who your staff members are going to be. If this is something you think you want to do and you want to involve other people, identify who your staff members are going to be and choose wisely, because you pick the wrong person, you can be in trouble. If it's somebody who's not going to work very hard, or somebody who's not going to have the same amount of passion as you, you're going to be frustrated with that. And then identify what strengths you have, and this is the big thing. What strengths do your staff and students have, and how does that cross over with the needs of your community? Where do those two things intersect? And that's a huge thing. What can you do well, and how can it impact your community? Because if you do video production really well, but in your town there's 3 people that do that already professionally, probably not where you want to be, right? Probably, unfortunately, not where you want to be. So find out, what does your community need? What are they lacking? What can you do? And then where are your skills at? And don't try to do something that you're not doing. And then this third one's probably my most important one. Don't try to start at the finish line. You gotta put the work in, and you gotta be good. If you're gonna sell this product, it has to be good. They're gonna understand that your students are making it, but they still expect it to be good. And so if you're not up to, close to a professional level, then you're not gonna get repeat customers, right? It's not gonna be good. So don't start a business before you've even made a video, right? Make sure that you're starting somewhere. I've done this for 10 or 11 years. We've only had 74 creative for 4 years or something like that. It took me a long time. We had this idea, but it took a long time to get to the point where I felt comfortable actually selling our service to people, because it's their money, and I don't want to do that. Partner with businesses and mentors that helps you improve. And then honesty. This is a tough one. Honesty with your students. When they make something for a client and they show it to you and it's not good enough, you have to tell them it's not good enough. And they don't like that because they're high school kids, and nobody tells anybody they're not good enough anymore. But I have to have that conversation. Sorry, is that too edgy, Taylor?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Nobody does. I'm telling you, everybody does everything perfect all the time. It seems like not in my class, unfortunately. I have to tell them, guys, that's not good enough. We have to go back and fix that. Because they'll take a shot and they think the shot is good, but it's got maybe too much shit. You can't, it's really shaky. We're gonna have to go refilm that. You didn't get it the first time, and that stinks. And we're gonna have to go take time to do that. They just try to throw it in there and think you won't notice.
Yeah.
We don't want to sign our name to something that's not good. And so we've had to have that conversation a few times. The nice thing about it is you usually only have to have it once per kid. They kind of get it at that point. They realize that he means business on that deal. So at this point, I want to show you one more thing, and this one will play because it's not linked on here. I do want to show you one more thing, just to show you what my kids have been working on. Nobody has seen this yet outside of me and those 4 kids that you've seen, and my wife and our football coach. And I'm going to show you just the start of the documentary. So we have 2 completely finished episodes, 2 that are almost done.
Didn't you put a teaser out on social media?
We did, way too early.
I
We were so confident when we put that out, dude, it's coming in.
So, to make you feel better, my kids saw it. I don't know where they saw it, but my kids saw it, and they're like, did you see? You gotta see. And they bring me their phones. They're like, you have to see this. Have you seen this?
Thank you. I appreciate that, because this is all the kids' idea. They came to me, and I was content just doing the same hype videos and commercials that we always did. And they were like, we want to do something different, because we're bored with that stuff. But we still have to do that stuff. No, but we got to do something different. And this is what they came up with. But this is the start of the first episode. I'll just play the first minute or so here. You might not be able to hear it very well. So to put it in context, this was at North Platte St. Pat's, where we just lost our second round playoff game. And it was me, because it was all the way to North Platte, so not everybody could go. So it was me and Mason and Connor filming that night, because my other student who usually could go couldn't come out to North Platte, couldn't make the trip. And so we were getting our butts kicked. We knew this was coming, so I was talking to the boys like at the end, we've got to get that huddle if we're going to film this documentary. And Mason was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not filming them when they're upset and when they're crying after the game. He's like, you can't tell the story if you don't get it. So this angle was shot by Connor, and the other angle you see was shot by me, and Mason was standing behind me pouting because I kind of got mad at him because he wouldn't film it, and he was just standing there with his camera. Wow. And so we had to have a long talk after, like, dude, if you're making a documentary, like, it's got to be real. You can't, and there's no way we can go back and fake this. Like, this is the most important shot. And so afterwards, when we're editing, Mason's like, we have to lead with this. I was like, I told you, we have to lead with this. You're right. Like, but it took him like a month to come to that realization. But in this moment, Mason's standing behind me, not happy with me.
Change this program. To put this program in a spot that it hasn't been in a long time, and that's 100% on the 26 guys that come in. It's 100% on you guys. The sacrifices that you've made to change this program. To put it in a spot that hasn't been in a long time. You guys have a ton to be proud of. I know it's hard. I know this is hard right now. But you're going to look back someday and be extremely proud of what you've done.
And I'll just show you the intro that they came up with. That's the beginning of that first episode. The kids put a lot of time into that, and it's going to be awesome. I told Rob earlier today when we were making that, like all through the fall, we'd have at least one day a week where the principal would come up and see us on Netflix because we would just be watching documentaries so we could figure out how to make our own documentary. And I had to explain to him, like, we're really doing stuff, I promise.
Last chance you.
Yeah, not at school. I wouldn't want to watch that one. That one, I was like, I'm pushing it by watching any of these at school, but that one was maybe too much language for me. But I was like, at home, if you're still on, you can watch Last Chance You because it's so good. But so that's the documentary we work on, and again, that one isn't going to make us any money. But 74 Creative is like I said, we're not making millions, but we're not in the hole either. We're doing well and making money and doing projects that serve our community really well. So that's where I'm going to stop. Actually, I'll put this back up here if you want access to this. I have a QR code for the link if you want that. And my email if you have any questions. And then all those videos are linked in there, so the ones I tried to show you that were linked on there didn't look great. So if you want to look at those.
Yeah, any questions for Jeremy?
So you're gonna have to do volleyball and basketball.
So that's the tough thing too. The documentary we did, the reason we chose football was because we had just changed from 11-man for the entire 55 years Sandy Creek has been around to 8-man. So when they said documentary, and I told them, well, what do you want to do it about? And they didn't have any ideas. And I said, well, it can't be like, we're not going to be able to go interview like President Biden or something like that. So we got to think like, what kind of scale can we do this on? And so then they came up with that. And so we've talked about trying to do something like that on the girls' side of things too. But it's taken so long. We might have to take a year off before we do that again because I don't know if I can do this again. It's a lot of work to do it the right way and to try to make it good. But yeah, we have plans, and that's why we called it. If you look, the title was called We Are SC, and then football was under it. We branded it that way so that we could change that to volleyball or basketball or something, so we could still have the same like feel to it, but just change it out into a different sport. That's what we did. Good question. I appreciate this.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. How's everyone doing on time? Does anyone need to take off? Because we do have some special awards we want to do in case someone does need to leave early. I know Levi left. Everyone else good? Awesome.
I'm just doing the slide.
Oh. Am I doing this? Am I kicking this section off, or can we switch? Can I go to awards? We need to get things hyped up here a little bit. Eric, are you doing more?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the next slide. So,
And then spring came.
well,
Yeah, that's exciting.
So,
winners are in the room.
Hopefully you guys saw, actually we got it out in January, but Spotify for the last couple of years, they've done their Unwrapped where they give you your top 10 songs and whatnot. And we kind of wanted, well, there's maybe something that we could steal from there, right? And so we created the Striv School Score that has been hotly contested ever since. And really what we were trying to do was we were trying to gauge not necessarily the quality of streams, because we're like, well, Marcus has like really good cameras, so it looks really good, right? He's got a lot of kids doing stuff, but we wanted to really kind of measure and see how engaged schools were with all of the different things that a Striv school can do. Are you scheduling your events in your dashboard? Are you uploading videos to on demand? Are you promoting your streams well enough that you're getting a lot of unique viewers? And so I can cancel that, I guess, or no, that should be fine. So what we did was we came up with some really arbitrary numbers and then everything. So first semester, and then what you've seen in your data, looking at those metrics that we put in, everything to last July, going out, and it will look very similar to what you, Hoosier.
Should be coming in 3.
Should be coming in. Our show choir superstars was Lewis.
Like handing it.
Yes.
Okay. Like this?
That's fine, I guess that's a
So
The state championship trophy, Josh, right next to it.
Champion.
There's always next year.
I don't know, because they didn't count my RCS score.
Yeah.
That's why he was.
I was on the slider.
Here, let me get the.
Yeah, I would get that in there.
And then our winner, the highest, gave bonus points, if you will. Live streams as well. Some of those metrics maybe in mind, perhaps that will spur on some more engagement of the dashboard. That was kind of another thing that we were trying to help promote was, hey, if your score is low, if you get into the dashboard, you'll see all of the different ways to up your score. For instance, we actually put it in your dashboard top left there when you first log in. As you click through the different metrics, we have a little helpful tip. Well, if your score is 0 for uploading or scheduling an event, by the way, you can up this score by scheduling an event. Click here, and it'll take you to scheduling your event. So that's kind of where we were coming from on it, and, but you should be able to see that, and the email should be out at 3, I guess. So that's where we're at with that.
I just posted how Eric and the team, Jordan actually helped develop this with Christian, the score, but I just shared it behind the scenes how they actually created this in the open field chat. If you guys want to watch that.
I'd share it with your kids too. Make sure that we've had
your students.
Yeah, the students. We've had a lot of teachers say they told their kids, and then the kids are more competitive than the teachers. So it could be something to get a fire under them going.
Yeah.
Ours were really excited during basketball season because we do junior high and high school and JV and all that. So we were really high, and then spring came and we really don't stream anything this spring because our attendance is not
Right.
where we have Wi-Fi.
Well, and that's where it was kind of fun to see the rolling 30-day, because literally every single day your score could change, right? Depending on what just fell off the back at your end of 30 days.
We don't do anything.
And so it was interesting to see, like for the most part, the Class A schools, so Kearney went up, Columbus went way up, that were doing soccer and baseball and stuff like that.
in April, and then as we hit May, then there was a few more concerts, and then we hit graduation season, and kind of like everything leveled out. So as we were seeing everybody's scores kind of adjust when we hit May, it was almost like we were back in August. It was kind of cool.
We did make it that if you were getting 8s or really close to 8s consistently on your 30-day rolling, that you would have a pretty high percentage of being in that top tier at the end of the year, that you could meet our goals that we had set. So we were hoping to set you up for the year end with the 30-day rolling.
Right. Cool. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. All right, we're gonna go in reverse. We are gonna go back. The video I shared was supposed to be funny, so you guys can. Have you guys seen that Little Caesars commercial where the 3 people are waiting for the little bear to start dancing, and that's how they developed the crust? That was what popped in my head when I thought of how we developed the Striv score. All right, so a lot of us talking, people talking up here today, but there were some really cool conversations. Justin and Judy were talking about advertising, and so we want to break up in some groups and have you guys just kind of connect and share some things. Maybe it's from your sheet, just for about 15 minutes, not super long. And so I want to try to pair up like veteran teachers with new teachers so that you guys can kind of collaborate and just get to know each other a little bit. So we can kind of, I don't know if we want to move desks, but you can just kind of move chairs around. You guys want me to just number off and you guys can get in groups? It's up to you guys. I really don't want to treat you like students, but are you guys okay with creating your own
But we will
groups?
if we have to.
Because that was really cool.
Is there stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's certain topics
We can
too.
break up based off of that.
Yeah, maybe if a group wants to talk about the session stuff too, a group could talk to Marcus and get into more advertising stuff. A group could talk to Jeremy.
About video boards. I know a lot of people look at that.
Yeah.
We want to talk about that.
Rob, why don't you lead
I'll do
video boards?
I can do that. I've been doing those for 6 years.
Marcus,
I'll stay right here, video
You want
boards.
to talk about advertising?
Or
Anybody that's
radio.
interested in advertising? Continue that conversation. And then maybe Jeremy, if you want to continue any conversation around the business side of things, running an actual business. I think that'd be, maybe we can do 3 different groups if you guys want to spread out. Some more boards, more vision. What's that? Yes, this is Eric's. Popping up. So Marcus's group can just meet up front here. Rob's in the middle.
I'm here over here.
Jeremy, do you want to kind of come over here? Really are truly passionate about empowering you guys as educators because you are shaping future-ready students. And just hearing the examples today, the stories, just want to encourage you guys. We know there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress when it comes to teaching at your school. So another teacher that might find value in this. It's a free community. We're not trying to sell anything to get into FRE, but we think there's a lot of resources, a lot of great things that can provide value to not only you, but others. And then, you know, we are a business, so we do have curriculum, and we have our Striv TV service, and we have different things that we try to do to make a living here. But getting into FRE is meant to be free. One of the things, the challenges we've experienced or just kind of reflected on is you guys are the cool kids at the table, right? There's a lot of other kids that want to come to the table, but they haven't been able to because they had to be part of Striv TV or they had to join Striv Education. And we want to invite everybody to the table and let them choose what they want to eat at the table, if you will. And so we want to try to get more folks, and we've got some goals and different ideas to attract more people, so you can share that bit.ly link, the same one. We'll share these slides in an email so you guys have all these slides. And then something I'm really passionate about is I think beyond even digital media and streaming and entrepreneurship is trying to find joy in your work. So recently I became, it's called Working Genius certified. Josh actually did a great job. I sent him the link maybe a month ago to take this. There's an assessment, and he took it this morning. So, our whole team has taken this assessment. It's not like Myers-Briggs. It's not a personality test. It's how you work. And I'm really interested in testing this out in schools, as I've worked with a lot of educators, I've worked with a lot of administrators, and I think there's just some value that can be found here. And there's 6 ways to work. And so I'm going to do a training session through Future Ready Educators on June 14th. You guys can watch the recording if you can't watch it live, but I wanted to promote that. So the 6 ways you work is wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. And everyone has a working genius. You have 2 working geniuses, you have 2 working competencies, which maybe you don't find joy in that work, but you can do them anyway. And everyone has 2 working frustrations. So the things you're maybe frustrated in your job are maybe, could be a simple conversation with your principal. Not to put Greg on the spot, but he's the only principal in here. But it's like, hey, I really love galvanizing, but my whole day is spent doing a bunch of tenacity and enablement work. And I want to coach, right? So I want to galvanize, get people inspired and excited about different things. So that's maybe can open up some conversations to get you in the right seat, or maybe even you're not in the right seat in your current role and you need to get shifted around. And so I think this is a really important conversation to have in education right now. It starts with you guys as teachers, and then starting that conversation with administrators and the school board to get us all on the same page with this. But this works across all industries. And what I believe is pathway for future ready educators, just to understand how you work so that you can also work with others. So I am galvanizing an invention. I think I maybe mentioned this in the post here, is every second I'm thinking of different ideas. So I like to invent, and then I tell them to the team and just expect them to go out and do it. And most of the time they do, but a lot of times now we have Danielle on our team who has wonder. She likes to ask questions. And so now that I know that,
Sorry, Marcus.
I know every time I come up with a new idea, Danielle's gonna have to process that and ask questions. Eric has enablement and tenacity, so every idea I have, he just needs to know which direction to go, not 4 different directions, 1 direction, and he'll knock it out and get it done, just like production event planner, okay? And so you guys could use those on your teams, right? And I think I had my wife take it. We are complete opposites. She has discernment and enablement. I always wondered why she hated every single idea I ever came up with since our 16 years of marriage. And we took this a year ago, and I go, oh, that's why you shut down every single idea, and I get really defensive and pissed. So it's actually helped our marriage tremendously, because I now know she's discerning, and she's telling me, not that it's a bad idea, but maybe I should take a step back and not get so excited and continue to start with ideas. So I'm really passionate about this and wanted to share with you guys. If you can be on the training or watch the recording anytime this summer when you're laying on the beach or at the lake or whatever you do in the summer, the rest of the summer. Hopefully, this was encouraging, inspiring for you. Love the conversation. Thank you guys for coming. If you got any questions for anybody, any equipment, anything like that, we'll see you guys all in August.
Thank you.
Have a great summer.